dark haze. Ladies of the night with eyes of red, vampires in the alleys where good men dread, wolfmen howling beneath the pale moon. But justice is coming and coming soon. From saloons to graveyards where evil sleeps, they walk among us, secrets they keep, nightmare hunters with souls ablaze, cleaning up this town through the dark haze. Cryptids themselves, yet they stand tall against the darkness, answering the call for every lost soul, every whispered prayer. They fight for the light in the midnight air. From saloons to graveyards where evil sleeps, they walk among us, secrets they keep, nightmare hunters with souls ablaze, cleaning up this town through the dark haze. The night is young, the hunt begins. For against the darkness where hope never ends.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Nightmare Hunter podcast. For all those new folks in the chat, and I'm seeing a lot of new names, welcome to the Nightmare Nation. We're proud to have you guys with us. And if you haven't had a chance, please take a second to hit that like, share, and subscribe. But before we get started tonight, I need to introduce my co-hosts. We got Robert Jed Brains over here from the great state of South Crackalacky. And down here below us is the newest member of the author community. That would be Carrie Pocket Doc Davis, who just released his debut novel. Doc, why don't you tell us a little bit about that book before we go?
It is part of the DA verse, the multiverse that we have. It is titled Dark Frontiers, Vampire Chronicles, The Angels of the Wilderness. And it is taking place between book 1, book 2 of the Dark Frontiers series. If y'all hadn't read them, you need to. And it follows myself and these two idiots, as Declan calls us, trailing this older than old vampire, and as he is wreaking havoc on settlements out in Indian Territory, and finally comes back home to Springfield for the final showdown. So I hope y'all like it. If you read it, it's out on hardcover. We got published before Kindle and paperback did, but we're going to have it on all formats. Was it the Audible too?
Yeah. Once your Kindle goes live, then we can do your Audible.
We'll have that. So yeah, little cowboys and vampires for a Valentine Day release. How's that for romance?
There you go.
I hope y'all. DA is going to put up some information, and we'll show you a little sneak preview on the cover, and we'll keep y'all informed as everything comes out. So yeah, I'm excited.
Well, that is awesome, brother. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, brother. I couldn't have done it without y'all.
You had the story in you the whole time. You just needed a nudge.
Yeah, I've been sitting, like you said, you're like, hell, you've been sitting on it over 20 years, man. So, yeah, yeah, I'm pretty excited. So, if y'all read it, hope y'all enjoy it.
How about we show off the cover?
All right.
If
It's really nice part.
Really
if
nice.
you're interested.
Yeah,
For those,
Luca did a fantastic job on the cover, man, and she helped me with the formatting, and so did Robbie. The pain that it took that it was.
Well, I didn't have any pain. I had a lot of comic relief last night, but
There was
you
some
had some pain.
So there's the
Look at
cover,
that.
folks. Hope y'all dig that.
I like it.
Yep.
Thank you.
When nights fall on the frontier, the real hunt begins. Dr. Kelly and Doc Davis rode out of the Civil War knowing how men die and how some survive things they shouldn't. A battlefield surgeon hardened by blood, mud, and old knowledge whispered in the dark. Doc believes every horror has a cause, and even when that cause refuses to stay buried. Drawn west by his brother, Jed Raines, Doc is pulled into a shadow war under the authority of U.S. Marshal Sylvanus Forrester. The men Forrester trusts are few and dangerous. Declan Kane, a gunfighter whose speed borders on the unnatural, and Patrick Godwin, an Irish saloon keeper who knows what stalks the roads after sundown. Together they are known as the Nightmare Hunters. I won't read the whole thing, but I wanted to read part of it for y'all. It's a good book, y'all. You guys are going to enjoy it.
Talk amongst yourselves. I got a little verklempt over here.
Well, you should be proud, brother. I'm proud of you.
Yep. You did a good job.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, well, we're going to jump into this episode. This episode is called Predator in the Pines. Episode 404, I guess that would be file not found, but here we are anyway. 6 true encounters with something in the trees, because when the trees go silent, that means something else is moving. Woods have rules, old rules older than the trails we cut through them, older than the stories we tell to make ourselves feel safe. One of those rules is simple. If the forest goes quiet, you ain't alone. Tonight, we're taking you into the pines, deep into the places where the tree line rises like a wall and a canopy swallows the sky. Places where people don't just hear things behind them, they hear things above them. Footsteps pacing in the branches. Something moving tree to tree without breaking a limb. Eyes shine 10 feet off the ground. We've all experienced that, boys. A shape crouched in the canopy, waiting, and watching. People never look up. Most people never think to. But the ones who did, the hikers, the hunters, the campers, the night travelers, they all reported the same impossible moment. Something in the trees matching their pace, choosing its distance, choosing its moment. Some escaped, some didn't. And some were never found at all. These aren't legends. These aren't campfire stories. These are 6 real encounters, documented, reported, and investigated, where the threat didn't come from the shadows on the ground, but from the branches over your head. Because in the deep pines, predators don't always stalk from below. Sometimes they hunt from above. And this is Predator in the Pines. Robbie, how about you start us out on segment 1 tonight?
Not a problem. Segment 1, the Georgia Canopy Screamer. Case is from Chattahoochee National Forest. Category is audio, elevated movement, but no direct threat. The Chattahoochee National Forest is one of those places that feels alive even when it's dead quiet. Tall pines, heavy canopy, long stretches of trail where the sky disappears and the forest presses in around you. It's beautiful, but it also is the kind of place where sounds behave strangely. Echoes don't echo, footsteps vanish into the needles, and sometimes, if you're unlucky, you hear things that you shouldn't or that shouldn't be there at all. Our first encounter comes from a pair of campers who set up for the night near a creek bed deep inside the forest. They weren't rookies. They weren't thrill seekers. They were just 2 friends looking for a quiet weekend away from the noise of the world. But the noise found them. It started just after midnight. A scream, long, sharp, and rising, cut through the trees. Not from the trail, not from the creek, but from above. They described it as a sound. They described it as a sound that didn't belong to any animal that they knew. Not a bobcat, not a fox, not an owl. It was deeper, wetter, like something forcing air through a throat not built for screaming. They froze in their tent, listening. Then another scream, each one coming from a different point in the canopy, as if something was moving from tree to tree, calling out as it went. When they finally worked up the courage to unzip the tent and shine their lights upwards, they saw it, just for a moment, a large dark shape shifting between branches, 20 feet up, not gliding, not flying, but climbing. The branches swayed under its weight, but not the way that it should have. Whatever it was moved with a kind of deliberate, predatory grace, heavy enough to bend the tree limbs, but controlled enough to stay silent between movements. Then came the moment that. What, somebody say something, or is that just a background echo?
With me.
I thought I heard one of you say something. Maybe not. Sorry. Then came the moment that stuck with them for the rest of their lives. The tree above their tent shook, not from the wind, not from an animal landing, but from something gripping it, something strong enough to make the entire trunk tremble. They grabbed their gear, sprinted to their vehicle, and tore out of the forest. As they drove, they reported hearing something pacing them in the treetops, keeping speed with their headlights until the road curved and the canopy broke. They never went back. The encounter is one of a few where witnesses reported sound originating from above, not from the forest floor, and that detail matters because it suggests predators comfortable in the canopy, using elevation as cover and announcing itself only when it chooses. This is the first step in our escalation tonight. Something in the trees making itself known, not attacking, not chasing, just letting you know it's there. And that's often how these stories begin.
Ooh.
You know, there's a lot of that story that you remember the one with the video from South Carolina that we played with the trees.
Mm-hmm.
Limp.
Yeah.
That reminds me a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought of that first time I read it too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good video.
This also, I mean, the way that thing was pacing them through the trees as they were getting out of the area. Dang, man, that is crazy.
Yeah. They're
Dang,
not far apart.
thanks, man. That's awesome. Hope you love it. Yeah, I mean, that thing going through the trees like that.
But also talking about it being strong enough to twist the trunk and sway the tree. If you remember, that's the story Johnny told me that when he was out the creek up there, the first time he and I talked, that's what he said was happening to that tree. One tree in the middle of a bunch of them that was twisting and shaking. None of the trees around it moving, just that one tree twisting and swaying and shaking.
Huh.
And that's what he said. It's like something was strong enough to grab a hold of that tree and just twist it.
Good Lord. Well, I mean, and if you think about that too, that kind of falls in line with some of the other encounters we've talked about where the trackway would just terminate right at a tree line. If there was an open clearing, there'd be tracks. If there wasn't open clearing, there may be one or two, but then it was just gone.
Yep.
Like that hiker or that trail runner dude that went missing.
Yeah.
So yes.
I'd say
you definitely got to keep your eye on the trees.
I'd say this was definitely territorial, and they got paced. Even though they were in a vehicle, they got paced.
Yeah, they did. And through the trees. That's the thing that blew me away when you were reading that. I was like, good Lord, whatever it was cruising through trees. But what about the scream? Because it said it wasn't like, because I mean, those of us who've been out in the woods, we know what a coyote here sounds like. We know what a fox sounds like. We know what a raccoon sounds like. I mean, raccoons are pretty scary.
Yeah.
So at nighttime, bobcats, DA's just my neighbor's kids in the tree. They look kind of like this bone tomahawk people. We were talking about that last night. Horrible, man. That movie is just, oh my Lord, that's so brutal. are you doing, dude?
Well, you were talking about the acoustics on that. I mean, they said it had a wet, resonant quality, suggesting something large, the sound originated from above the ground. So unless it was up on a hill somewhere nearby, it was in the trees.
So if it was perched up in a tree, that means it's got the vantage point. It can see everything going on around there.
And that's not something you typically see in most predators. Mountain lions will hunt from above because they're ambush predators, but bears don't do that. Wolves don't do that. I mean,
but Doc just said, that high ground. How many other stories we read where they're up on a ridge above people?
Yeah,
and I think that's just one of the things they do is they get an elevation, whether it be up in a tree or up on a ridge line.
Yeah, they.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're keeping the high ground, and it's easy. It's easier to see prey coming when you're on the high ground, and it's also a lot easier to defend yourself.
Yep.
Just ask Anakin.
Nice reference.
Yeah. See the Sasquatch up in the tree going, "It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground."
Bigfoot drops down in front of him and goes, "Hello there."
and
so uncivilized.
The way it was the shifts. They said it sounded like it was coming from different locations too.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that sucker's moving around. If it's moving around, I don't know. I was when I was listening to that when Robbie was reading, I was like, well, maybe it was trying to get a full 360 of their camp, just like doing a little recon or something like that.
Or it could have been more than one.
Or it could have been more than one. Yeah.
All right, they were definitely rattling on about their territory. I'm pretty sure this was a territorial display, because if they were hunting them, they wouldn't have made any noise at all.
Right, and there was nothing overtly aggressive that happened other than just the screaming. So,
yeah, well, I mean, and how many times just like the one we read, the little boy got pulled out of the tent the other night.
Yeah,
wasn't a sound made.
Yeah,
the guys they've been pulled off trails. No sound, they're just gone. So I think DA is 100% correct with that. If they were hunting, if this was predation, they probably wouldn't have went up there hooting and hollering. They would just drop down in the tent and
no, I agree with that assessment. What are you doing? You got ants.
I mean, well, we know black bears climb trees all the time, but how often do you see one leaping from tree to tree?
I've never seen that.
I've never either.
And
I've seen mountain lions do it.
Right.
It's not generally their go-to move. But it's like if you've got them treed, they'll jump to another tree.
Right. And a black bear going up a tree is not necessarily the most graceful act at all. I mean, they look very uncoordinated. I mean, I know they are, but up a tree is not their forte. You know what I mean?
Well, usually when they're up a tree, they've got both front legs and both back legs wrapped around a tree. So they're up the tree and they're there, but then it's not like once they get up, they can start walking around on limbs and
right.
They're
swinging back and forth.
Yeah, they're pretty much hugging the tree. So
yeah. What was this? Clay? Me and my brother were playing outside at night with my parents, and all of a sudden my dog started growling at the tree line when she got spooked and ran the porch after a tree branch 30 feet up moved. Oh, yeah. That could be a
dog.
Yeah.
Always trust your dog.
Yeah. Me and my brother Keith heard some god awful sound one night, and back in the back pasture, and we went out there with a flashlight and a shotgun, and it was two big old boar coons fighting in this big red oak that we had back behind our barn. And I'm gonna tell you what, it did raise a hair on the back of your neck.
They go to squalling and fussing. They sound like animals 5 times their size.
Yeah, they do. We were like, what in the world is that? So, yeah. The acoustics and the movement and everything like that. And, Robbie, you keyed in on this, too. The tree trunk vibration.
That takes some mass to do that.
Dude, to twist a freaking tree around.
Yeah, that didn't happen when a squirrel jumps from branch to branch. It'd be one big freaking squirrel.
That'd be a squirrel on steroids, man. Yeah, I mean,
Can you imagine if squirrels were the size of moose?
Oh my gosh.
we'd all be dead. That's
Yeah, but look how much squirrel meat you could pack in a freezer.
that's true. I do like to eat some tree rat though. Ain't no doubt about it.
Squirrel dumplings
It's
is
good.
good.
It's
Tree
good,
rat.
especially with breakfast.
Little squirrel and gravy over some biscuits.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in the
That's good
pressure.
eating there.
You put it in the pressure cooker and let it get all nice and tender.
Yep.
Sorry, we definitely derailed a little bit there. You can hear the
What
redneck coming out,
What else is new?
right?
Yeah. Jeff Yarrington says that'd be entertaining watching a bear jump from tree to tree. It would probably jump and then just fall like a stone.
It'd be entertaining for us. I don't think it'd be too entertaining for him. I don't think it'd end up too well.
Now, Rodney will tell you, we had one black bear climb a tree inside the city, and it stayed up there for a while. And finally, DNR came in and they darted it, and that something fell out of the tree, and it like boom and bounced, hit the ground.
Chris Jarvis, you were right. There are lots of reports of Bigfoot swinging from branch to branch like primates.
Yeah, who knew, right?
Yeah, who would have predicted that?
Not any of us.
Oh, of course not. But look how much weight that would take to twist a tree around like that.
Yeah, if you feel your tent moving and the tree moving like that, it's time to get further from that place, man.
Yeah.
Less Popeyes running around out there in the woods.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything with enough forearm strength to twist a tree like that.
Well, I think it's definitely kind of telling that it would parallel the vehicle once they left. I mean, it not only did it want them gone, it wanted to make sure they didn't come back.
Think about the vehicle was pretty good ways back in the woods. It wasn't right there because remember it said until the canopy broke, it didn't stop. So that's probably where their territory stopped, is where that canopy broke and they got back out on a quote unquote main road, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was just this.
Or they didn't want to come out and reveal themselves.
More
right.
too.
Yeah. That was their way of just saying, "Get on out of here."
Get on out of here.
Because big pine thickets like that, that's plenty of concealment and cover for these things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've ever spent any time in the woods at night, visibility's nothing.
Yeah, if you're in a big pine thicket, it gets dark a lot. It gets dark in there before the sun goes down. As the sun's going down, man.
Yeah, and that's also a thing about a pine thicket with a pine forest, something like that. You don't hear a lot of stuff moving around on the ground because usually it's a blanket that thick on the ground of pine needles. And that definitely serves to dampen the sound of anything moving around. So,
yeah, that brings back memories, man. Traipsing around the woods behind the house.
mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, the witnesses described the sound it made as not feline, not avian, and not human. That kind of rules things out. If it wasn't feline, that rules out a mountain lion up a tree.
Right.
Not avian, that'd be one big honking bird to shake a tree like that.
Right.
They got California condors on steroids out there.
Well, Larry Berlin just had a good question. Do you think Dogman could also swing branch to branch?
Well, they could jump from branch to branch.
I would say they easily could, but they've got hands, so they probably climb a tree just as well as we could. But I would say, if I had to guess, much like wolves, I'd say they would be more on the ground hunters, and I would say we'd be more likely to find Bigfoot up a tree. But I'm not going to say it's impossible.
Yeah, because remember, Gray Eagle and Jason got surrounded by a bunch of Oolonga Doglala that were in the trees.
Well, in the first book, Wolf Moon, he tracked it into the woods and it went up a tree.
Yep.
So I wouldn't rule it out. I would say they're fully capable of it, but whether they choose to or not probably is situational.
Well, we know for a fact that they do because you got pictures of one behind you in a tree.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, if it was either standing on the ground or crawled up up that tree, but it was about 9 feet off the ground, 9.5.
I still remember that picture. It gives me chills thinking about
Well,
that.
me and you were walking right next to that tree, and when we heard with our ear pros,
When we heard the pacing off to our left.
And the
mhm,
breathing.
yep.
Well, and that eye shine that me and DA saw there, not
Good
far,
point, just a guy.
it was big and it was tall
And quick.
and fast. Yes, I was just about to say and fast. Almost as fast as you, little Doc.
Did you ever mean a segue you did? Or
I'll segue it in for Doc.
okay.
So if this first encounter was just a warning, just a voice in the trees letting you know you're being watched, our next case takes things just a little, like a step further. Because here in the Ozarks, two hikers didn't just hear something above them, they felt it following them, shadowing their steps, choosing when to reveal itself. And when it finally did, the forest answered back. Doc, take her away, brother.
All right. So this is, excuse me, this is the Ozark Canopy Stalker, case number 2 out of the Buffalo National River in Arkansas. It is elevated movement, growling, and we're going to talk about some of the factors of the drop down impact. The Ozarks are old country, ancient hills, deep hollows, pine stands so thick the light filters down in narrow green shafts. It's a place where sound travels strangely, sometimes too far, sometimes not at all. And it's a place where people have reported things moving through the trees long before the first ranger station was ever built. Our second encounter comes from two hikers, experienced, confident, and familiar with the terrain. They weren't lost. They weren't spooked. They were just making their way along a ridge trail late in the afternoon when the forest around them shifted. It started with a branch snapping overhead, not behind them and not beside them, above them. They looked up expecting to see a squirrel or a bird, and instead, they saw the branches sway slowly and deliberately as if something heavy was moving through the canopy. They kept walking, and the movement kept pace. Every few seconds, another branch shifted, then another, always just ahead of them and always just out of sight. They described it as a feeling of being escorted, not hunted, not chased, but guided. Something was moving with them, matching their speed, staying just far enough ahead to remain unseen. Then the forest went quiet. No birds, no insects, no wind. Just the sound of their breathing, and that's when they heard it. A deep, resonant growl rolled through the trees above them, not from the ground, not from the brush, from the canopy. It wasn't the growl of a bear. It wasn't the scream of a cat. It was something lower, something that vibrated in their chests. Huh, that sounds familiar. Something that felt like a warning. They froze and the growl came again, except this time it was closer. Then, without warning, something hit the ground right behind them with enough force to shake the dirt under their boots, a heavy, solid impact. Not a branch falling, not an animal jumping down, something dropping from the trees. They spun around expecting to see whatever had landed, but the trail behind them was empty. No movement, no shape, no sound, just the lingering vibration of that impact echoing through the ground. They didn't wait to see what came next. They ran down the trail, around the bend, and all the way back to the trailhead. And the entire time they reported hearing something moving parallel to them, keeping pace in the trees until the forest finally thinned and the canopy broke. This encounter is one of the clearest examples of intentional positioning. A predator using elevation to control distance, visibility, and psychological pressure. It didn't attack them. It didn't chase them. It just let them know it was there. It announced itself. And that's the part that sticks with you. Predators don't warn prey. If predators want something, they're going to take it. They don't growl unless they want you to know they're there. They don't drop from trees unless they're testing your reaction. This wasn't curiosity. This wasn't coincidence. This was a threat display and the second step in the escalation that we're building tonight. Something in the Ozarks wanted those hikers to know just exactly how close it was and how easily it could close the distance. Dun, dun, dun. That's
No kidding.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it dropped down behind them, then it was just poof, gone. And like Robbie said, that big thicket area there, or in those woods, those pine beds, straw beds. I mean, that thing can move, and plus it's got the memory foam feet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it dropped down behind them, and it was probably off the trail and blending in with the shadows, like as they do, like we saw in that video. That's pretty interesting right there, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. And the feeling in their chest, where we've heard that before.
Right. The emperor sound, the growl. Yeah. The roars from all these like Ape Canyon and everything like that.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, that's so I mean, big cats use it. Hey William.
Hey William.
What's up?
Yeah, big cats use it. A lot of creatures use it. So yeah, it definitely that meant what? That was a threat, right? I mean,
right.
That it was saying, hey, I know you're here. Time for you to get out of here.
And this it came from the canopy, which other than a mountain lion, there's really nothing in the Ozarks that climbs trees that's a predator.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, and a bobcat ain't going to be moving stuff around like that. I mean, they'll go, but those things ain't much bigger than a freaking Maine Coon. Some of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
and you ain't gonna feel them hit the ground.
No, no, because I mean, if you've ever seen how cats drop, they drop very gracefully, for lack of a better word, and quietly. And what's this?
Well, the branch displacement shows that something up there was heavy.
Right. It's big. Real big.
But it was still moving precisely.
And something else, too, just in front of them. So what does that say?
Probably more than one of them.
Could, yeah. And I was thinking, too, like in the story, how it was guiding them. I think it was kind of herding them out of the area to try to keep pushing them in the direction it wanted them to go. So,
yeah, it was. I think it was definitely hurting them.
Yeah, and definitely the tree to tree thing, because like we just said, in the last story, bears don't go tree to tree like that. That's
right.
That's definitely a primate trait. So something with
that indicates. Brachiation. That's the way primates move. Being able to swing from branch to branch without falling. I mean, that's there's really nothing else that can do that but a primate.
And that's what they call it, brachiation.
Mm-hmm. Brachiation.
Interesting. Learned a new word today. I shall incorporate that into my ever-growing thesaurus.
Oh no, Doc found another $5 word.
Yes.
$20 word.
$20 word.
Do not
and
be
don't worry, Robbie knows what it is, so he can make change for the rest of us.
Jed, don't be obstreperous. And the way when that son of a gun hit the ground, I mean,
that thud.
It said it jarred them in their boots. If y'all ever have felt something heavy hit the ground like that, I mean, that's, if it jars the ground, that's big.
That's a big critter.
That is a huge critter, man. I don't know. What do you think, Robbie?
Yeah, I think this was like the first one we read. I think this was get out of my get on out here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there again, I think it steps it up a little bit more into a psychological thing with jumping out of the tree right behind them, and then this, like as you said, poof. That's adding a psychological edge, which is kind of even scarier because that means it's thinking.
Right. And the fact, if something came down, if I was going in a position, if I was going this direction and then something got my attention over here and I turned around, then I heard something fall down or jump down behind me and rattle the ground. I'd be going back that way. like real quick. Because it was basically, I think it was basically giving them, all right, boys, this is as far as you go. When it came down.
Boys, I've dragged both of you out into the Ozarks woods, and there are plenty of places where it feels like something could just drop out of the tree because the canopy's so thick.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it ain't, I mean, you got a good mix up there. You got just like where I grew up, Mississippi, and just like where Robbie lives, there's a good mixture of softwoods and hardwoods. And they know, they're smart enough to know what'll take their weight and what won't.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And so with that thing dropping down, I think it was literally saying it knew the trees to use, and it said, this is as far as you go right here. And it's time for you to go that way. That's some definitely I don't know, predatory behavior right there. That's like definitely not trying to borrow word from your book, BA, but that's definitely an apex predator.
Yeah. Challen says it could be causing fear before they hunt, or that might have been their hunting grounds and they wanted them the hell out of there.
Yeah.
They might have been interfering with a hunt.
Yeah, whatever territory it was theirs.
Yeah.
And they were like, y'all got to go.
Yeah, at that point, I'm pretty much all for letting them have it.
Yeah, boys, y'all have fun. I'm out of here.
Good luck. We're good. We're gone.
Yeah, look at the time, Robbie. Okay, have a good day, sir. Have a good day. You too. Please don't eat me. Yeah, that's big, dude. I mean, and that's again the whole the creature staying ahead of them and not behind them. That's like pushing them upwind and ahead, and again controlling that movement. And the growl that wasn't coming in to kill, just like Robbie said. I mean, if they're gonna if a predator is gonna take you, it's not gonna give you a heads up. It's just gonna take
right.
you.
Yeah.
It ain't like
and they also said they felt more than heard the growl.
Right. And it ain't like a big cat. A big cat ain't gonna sit there on the ridge and watch as you get under them. They're ready to pounce, and they give you a little wow. They're just gonna.
You're never gonna hear it.
You ain't never gonna hear it coming, man. It's just gonna be like that bullet that hits you.
And if it had been a hunt when it dropped down directly behind them, it'd been over with right then.
Oh, if it wanted it, it was basically letting them know. That's 100%. It was basically letting them know, hey, look how close I can get to you. If I really wanted you,
you'd done been had.
You'd have done been had.
I guess we could actually say that was counting coup then, right, DA?
Yeah, more or less.
Good point.
Yeah, that could have exactly been what it was doing. What was I going to say? Again, that's not typical of things in the Ozarks, but that growl really, those low frequency growls kind of trigger something primal in us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like primitive fear right there, kicking in the old lizard brain.
Exactly. That's definitely going to hit your sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. You definitely going to have a response.
You will be in PNS backlash shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
And
so
we feel that.
So what do you guys think about it dropped down, they spun around, there was nothing back there? Do you think that means it was invisible, or if it just dropped down behind a tree and they couldn't see it?
Probably it dropped down behind a tree and they couldn't see it.
That would have been my guess too.
Yeah.
But the story kind of implied that it was there but not there, if you get it.
Yeah, I mean, if it dropped down behind a tree, or if it's very thick, if it was apparently thickly wooded there, shadows could have hit it. And just like that video we saw, I can't remember the name, but where that thing was moving and it stopped.
Oh, the Paul Freeman footage.
Yeah, Paul Freeman
footage. And it disappeared until it started moving again.
Right.
So, that's...
And I think it's pretty telling that if it had dropped onto the trail behind them, when they started moving out of the area, it would have followed them on the trail. But they said it was paralleling them in the woods.
Through the trees.
As big as these things probably are, if it's 1,500 pounds and it dropped behind one of the trees, it'd probably sound like it was literally right behind them anyway.
Right on top of them. Yeah. That's a good point, Robbie.
Mondoc says PNS backlash, fire tubes 1 and 2.
We were saying that last night. Blow the ballast. Time to get on out of here. Yeah, that is definitely showing that it has it has intent. Unlike the first segment, which was, "Hey, we're here," and this next one was like, "All right, I can make this happen if you want to push it."
Yeah. Dr. Sharp, I think I know which one you're talking about, and I still say that we're having so much trouble getting these things on camera because of those clear hair shafts. I think that's a very logical explanation. Those clear hair shafts are going to refract light, and it's going to make it very difficult for a digital camera to get an image that way. You might be better off with like old film cameras. You might get it better then because it doesn't magnify the light the way a digital camera does. So I'm still going toward the clear hair shafts.
We've speculated that same thing, Da. You think about that's why the Patty footage is so clear versus all the stuff that we see now
because it was on film.
Yeah, because of the type of camera, and the technology was not ahead of the curve, so to speak. Now these cameras they operate on such a they're nice, they're great, but if conditions are not whether favorable, that's what you're going to get.
Right, they're computers with lenses, man, and they have all these light sensors and this sensor and that sensor. Back then, if they're filming with a little freaking Super 8 or something like that, I don't know if it was 8mm, 16mm, whatever.
I think it was a Super 8. I think it was.
Yeah. If you're out there filming with a Super 8, man, you got your aperture, and your focus and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's very old school, very old school. It's like I learned how to shoot photos with a Canon AE1.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Victor says, a cougar can scream like a woman. Oh, absolutely. We've heard it. But the screams that people are describing are nothing like a cougar.
Right.
And Robert McGill wants to know when we're going to get an update on Zone Echo. Well, I've still been digging into research in that area. I will go back to it later tonight or tomorrow and see if I can pull some new stories out of Zone Echo. And I'm also operating on the theory that there might be more than one Zone Echo.
Mm.
Because somebody was recently telling me about what they're referring to as the Ozarks Triangle. And I can tell you for a fact there are at least 3 places in that triangle that are government-controlled land.
Really? Is that all up the Bitterroots?
No. We're talking about the Ozarks Triangle, but the Zone Echo one was up in the Bitterroots.
Yeah.
Okay.
With Teddy Roosevelt's story.
Right. That's what I was trying to put 2 and 2 together.
But yeah, I will work on pulling more stories for another Zone Echo story.
Yes, sir.
But meanwhile, back to this one though. So do you think? Yeah, there we go. So do you think the scream and the drop down? Do you think that was like a territorial warning, or do you think they were in real jeopardy?
No, because if they've been in real jeopardy,
it would have got them.
I'm sure, even if it dropped down behind a tree, I'm sure as quick as these things move, if it wanted, it would have had him.
Concur. Yeah,
I agree. I just wanted to put that question out and not say what I thought on it and just get your opinions on it.
And and there again, just like we always say, that's just our speculation. But based on all the stories that we've read before, how many times have we read stories where somebody without a sound or anything just was gone?
Case in point, the little boy in the tent.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I firmly believe that if that'd been the case in this one, that old boy would have been gone.
Boys, all I can tell you, because I know you guys haven't had a chance to go over the notes ahead of time. Wait till you get to the last story of the evening tonight.
Good.
If this one don't give you the heebie-jeebies, you got ice water in your veins.
That's what you said about the last story from Wednesday's show too, and it was pretty out there.
This was pretty creepy. You guys are gonna like it.
Good. I can't wait.
So, looking back at that thing, clearly that was a heavy mass sitting in the ground. If they felt it vibrate all through the trail, something was heavy. So I'd probably guess, like Miss Lene stated, probably somewhere in the ballpark of 1,000 pounds.
I'd say probably heavier than that. I'd say probably 1,200 to 12 to 1,300.
It's a big animal, regardless, and that immediately says that ain't a cougar, because I think the biggest cougar ever shot here in Missouri was under 200 pounds. I don't think they get that big around here.
Yeah, and that's a big cat too.
Now up in the Rockies, you might find a 220 pounder, but here in Missouri, no, they're a little leaner.
Yeah, if you find a 220 pounder, that sucker's been eating good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, that's we.
And there we looked it up on one show. I think the world record black bear was shot in North Carolina, and I think it was just over 500 pounds. So even
I think it was over 600. I think it was over 600.
Well, regardless, 500-600. That's
a long way from 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
Still, I wouldn't want a 600-pound bear dropping on me out of a tree.
No.
It still would hurt.
William says, "DA, you remember that big cat I sent to you?" I do, sir. I don't know what I did with the picture, but I definitely remember it. Cats can get pretty dang big. I mean, what's a liger run, like 700-800 pounds?
The one in South Carolina is 906 pounds, I think.
That is a big kitty cat.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
That's a half a ton of murder mittens right there.
Madison Jewell asks, you guys know any other stories that happened in North Carolina? We've talked about quite a few over the years, but we don't generally do like one show on one specific area. Although we have done shows on like the Midwest and like the Ozarks and Colorado area, but we never really concentrate on one specific small area. But we can probably put some together. I mean, I know we've done several over the years, including the 911 call where that guy said something jumped in the back of his pickup.
Yep, that was North Carolina.
That was North Carolina, and same with that story about that sheriff up near the mountains that kept finding family homes empty. So they ended up calling for help, and they had sent in a team of Navy SEALs to take out a group of rogue Sasquatch that were basically just breaking into people's houses and killing them.
Now, Mr. Ballin actually had a guy on his show that claimed to be, that said he wasn't actually one of the SEALs that went in, but he was in like the cleanup unit, so to speak, or the support.
Well, Mr. Ballin was a SEAL.
Yeah, he wasn't involved in that because he had the guy on there, and the guy was telling the story. He said, I wasn't one of the SEALs that went in and did the actual hunting, but I was on the support unit, which we basically did cleanup and containment and things like that. Holding the perimeter so nobody got into the kill zone or whatever.
Right.
That was a pretty interesting episode if you want to check that out.
If I remember correctly in that story, correct me if I'm wrong, Robbie, but weren't the SEALs like moving through a valley and all of a sudden one of them froze and looked up and opened fire right above it? There was one of them creeping down the tree about to grab him.
I think so. I think I remember something like that. I think that guy said that he was I don't know if it was after it was all over with or just after that one specific thing. They were back everybody just kind of milling around. They were talking about it, and this guy was telling everybody that was in the support unit about it. So, it's kind of a secondhand story. That guy didn't actually see it happen, but he said that's what they were telling him happened.
Hillary, I'll try to find the original source of the story, but I heard it the first time. I want to say 2017, 2018 was on the first time I heard it. I heard it profiled on another show. This was long before we had this podcast. But I think that story's probably, if we can track it down, probably happened sometime in the early 2000s.
That sounds about right.
Just from what I remember reading of the original posting, I think it happened sometime like around 2003, but it might have been before then.
It's one of those little mountain towns up in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Vincent Tipping says, I think that 911 call with the driver and some creature was in Carolina. I believe I could be right. It was definitely in North Carolina. Yeah. We actually did a whole bit on that.
I want to say it was somewhere around Pisgah National Forest, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was right in the Pisgah.
Damn. How do you remember that? Good Lord.
Some of these stories just stick with you, brother.
Yeah. The Pisgah, I can't remember that. I remember it was North Carolina. And
Well,
the dude was on the phone and saying it definitely is not human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason Pisgah sticks in my mind because that's where I did my tracking training.
Okay.
And I had some interesting things happen while we were up there doing that because I can't remember if you were involved in that conversation or not, but I know I called DA that night and was like, hey, dude, check this out.
Oh,
they were being paced.
I was just about to ask, were y'all getting paced up there?
Well, and the 1,000-pound owl were crawling through the woods back there and here,
Right.
Buddy of mine that I met in the class, and I said, that owl got laryngitis? He said, I ain't never heard an owl sound like that before. I said, I have. And he said, what? I said, I don't believe it was an owl, buddy.
That owl needs to switch to filters.
Yeah.
Jeff Yarrington says the largest black bear on record was killed in 1972, field dressed at 902 pounds, estimated live weight 1,100 pounds.
Woo!
Big bear.
That is a big bar.
Yeah, it is.
That one would have made D. Boone proud.
Just a guy says, but the DA, you say the sheriff called in for help. How does that work? Is there some protocol the higher ups in rural U.S. have for that? Seems like a major OPSEC violation. He ran it up the chain. I think he called the state police, and the state police just kicked it up. They didn't want to mess with it. They did. I don't know if they even didn't believe him, but I honestly believe that there are groups out there. The U.S. military has groups like the Wild Hunt. I'm sure they don't call them that. In fact, I was kind of not so bluntly told that I had hit the nail a little close to the head on some stuff. But having said that, I really believe there are teams out there that's exactly what they do. And it wasn't just the sheriff's department was involved in that too. That was there was a guy from the local game warden, and I guarantee you, when the Department of Interior sends that up, those teams get involved because the Department of Interior is responsible for the national parks.
Yep. And sheriff would have the authority to call. The sheriff can call the governor and ask for National Guard to be involved anyway.
Sure can.
So,
boys, we got about a minute before we got to take a quick pause for the cause. Folks, we're going to have to stop here for just a moment while we take a quick break to pay some bills and hear a word from our sponsors. And this would be a great time to grab a snack, hop off your coffee, stretch your legs, walk the dog, whatever you need to do. But we will be back in just a couple of minutes. We will see you guys in just a minute.
The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to Research a Haunted House can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unexmedia.com or Amazon.com. That's unxmedia.com or Amazon.com.
Hey everybody, this is Kerry Pocket Doc Davis from Dark Angel Medical, and you are listening to DA Ex Machina with DA Roberts. You may recognize me or some of my products from Dark Angel Medical in some of the Apex Predator, Lakeview Man, and Wild Hunt books, and you can get those products at www.darkangelmedical.com, along with training classes on how to use those products and save a life. Shoot us an email at info@darkangelmedical.com and be the difference.
In a world where monsters still walk the earth, one author dares to face them. From the brutal cryptid horror of the Apex Predator series to the Ozark legends that stalk the night in Lakeview Man. From the elite warriors of codename Wild Hunt to the relentless investigations of the Nightmare Hunter and the frontier terror of Dark Frontiers. When the dead rise, the Ragnarok Rising saga unleashes pure zombie apocalypse fury. And across the stars, war rages in the Lost Legion and Man's Marauders. And in the realm of myth and steel, the world of Vanguard calls to those born for legend. Cryptids, zombies, sci-fi warfare, epic fantasy. This is the universe of D.A. Roberts.
And we are back, folks. Thank you guys for sticking with us. We're going to jump right back in the middle of this. Robbie, you want to segue us into the next segment?
All right. Segment 3, right?
Yeah.
If the Ozarks encounter was a warning, a growl in the branches, a thud in the dirt, our next case takes us into the moment every backcountry traveler fears. Because in Virginia's Blue Ridge Mountains, a hiker didn't just hear something above him, he saw it, perched on a branch, watching and waiting. And when he froze, it made its move.
Ooh.
Segment 3, the Blue Ridge Drop-Down Encounter, coming up next. Take it away, DA.
This is case number 3 for the night. It takes place in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. This has been documented in a number of places, including the BFRO. And this is a perch sighting, rapid descent, and a chase. You guys are going to enjoy this. The Blue Ridge Mountains are the kind of place where the forest feels layered. Like the woods have depth you can't see. You can only sense it. The trails wind through the steep slopes and tight switchbacks, and the canopy hangs low enough to make you feel like you're walking through a tunnel of branches and shadow. Our third encounter begins with a solo hiker moving along one of those narrow trails late in the afternoon. The light was fading, the air was cooling, and the forest was settling into that strange quiet that comes right before dusk. He wasn't nervous, and he wasn't lost. He was just trying to make it back to his campsite before dark. Then he felt it, that prickling sensation on the back of his neck that tells him you're being watched. He stopped, listened, but heard nothing. He took a few more steps, and that's when he saw it. Perched on a branch overhanging the trail, about 10 to 12 feet off the ground, was a large, dark figure. Not a bear, not a cat, something crouched, balanced, and perfectly still, like it had been waiting for him to notice. He froze. The figure didn't move, at least not at first. Then, in one fluid motion, it descended the tree, fast, too fast. Hands and feet working together, gripping the bark, sliding, dropping, catching itself, and dropping again. The witness said it moved like it had done it 1,000 times. It hit the ground with a heavy thud and then charged. He ran, and the creature followed right after him. He could hear it behind him, heavy bipedal footsteps pounding down the trail. Not the scrambling of a four-legged animal, not even the uneven rhythm of something crashing through the brush. This was on 2 feet, and it was running fast. He sprinted down the trail, heart beating in his chest, lungs burning, the sound of those footsteps closing the distance. Then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. No more footsteps, no breathing, no movement. Just absolute silence. He didn't look back. He didn't stop running until he reached the trailhead, dove into his vehicle, and tore out of the mountains. He never returned to that trail. This is the moment in our escalation where the predator doesn't just reveal itself, it commits to the chase. It chooses the moment of engagement. It chooses the distance, and it chooses when to stop. This wasn't curiosity. This wasn't a warning. This was a test. And the hiker passed it only because the creature allowed him to.
That's
100%. Because I believe if that thing had wanted to catch him,
It would have.
it would have.
oh yeah, it could have. It was just playing with him. Like, it was just scaring the crap out of him. Like, you don't have any.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, dude, I'd have been doing some biological warfare. That's all I gotta say.
Been shaking one out of the pant leg as you try to get in the Jeep.
Exactly.
Sheldon says, "Oh, that reminds me of the new Dark Frontiers book." Cool, dude. Thank you. Lone Queen says, "All these Virginia stories make me want to reinforce concrete bunker house and Jurassic Park fences for my cows to keep out predators." Madison Jewell says, Michael Dana Green captured a 1-minute infrared clip in North Carolina of a Bigfoot-like creature. Can you all watch it? I will see if I can find the clip and then find out if we're actually able to use it. But yeah, I'll look into that. Maybe we can do a show on that here before too awful long. Trying to put that link up again for you, Doc.
Oh, thanks, man.
There it is.
Bobby Singleton.
There we go.
Thank you. I was like, yep.
Y'all grab that book. Let's see if we can't push him to number 1 in the category.
That'd be fun.
But what do you guys think about that? It was perched on a branch 10 to 12 feet up.
Mm-hmm.
Yet it was still something big. So it must have been a pretty thick branch.
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, I think it's they do that. They're in that territory so much they know what they can grab and what they can't. You know.
And the way it came down the tree using its hands and its feet sounds like a primate to me.
They do that sliding as they're grabbing, going down. Yeah, that's very, very primate. And you know, and what kind of limbs do these things have to be on? Or maybe they're pressing on the trunk some too to support, 1,200-1,500 pounds, 800, 1,000. That's a lot of daggum weight to be.
Well, depend on the size of the branch. Wood can support a lot of weight.
Yeah, they had to be on some pretty good, like, big limbs like that, big branches. So, and honestly, 10, 12 feet up, depending on what kind of tree it was, that's where a lot of their limbs usually start.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
well, if it was stretching out over the trail, it wasn't up a pine tree anyway. Because
right,
right.
Yeah, it had been hardwood, and they're pretty dang strong.
Right.
That hardwood right out here behind my house, guys. When we sat by with the fire pit, that one main feeder branch that sticks off that son of a gun. I guarantee you, we could tie a rope to it, and all three of us hang on it, and it not even sway.
Well, see, that's like that red oak I was talking about. Those big boar raccoons fighting. I remember that limb. It was only about 10, 12 feet off the ground, but that sucker was as big as a freaking telephone pole, man. It was huge.
That's the way that one is. It ain't very high off the ground, but good Lord, it's as big as my waist.
Like another tree hanging off of it.
Right.
Yeah, so that's
so if they had a branch like that, it'd easily support a big primate.
Yeah. So it's moving around. The slide, that's the thing. That's very, very, very scary.
Curtis, it's up to Amazon. Amazon should have that process completed pretty soon. We're hoping the Kindle and the Kindle and the print copy, the soft spine. Hoping those will both be up sometime tonight, maybe early tomorrow.
Yeah, hope so. And all it is right now is hardcover. Sorry.
Yeah, it ain't your fault. That's all on Amazon.
Yeah. It's very weird. Tactical descent. We'll see. We'll see, man.
I think he's got a few up his sleeve.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 3.
The ground impact. Talked about it hitting with a heavy, dull thud. So, and if it felt it in the soil, that's something with some pretty substantial mass to it.
Yeah, just like the last story we talked about. For you to feel that, it's got to be something substantial.
And he described it as running on 2 feet.
Yeah,
So I think we can safely rule out bears and mountain lions on that. And
yeah, because you can tell the difference between a bipedal running behind you and something with a trot.
oh yeah, the whole cadence is different.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's also different among different quadrupeds. I mean, like a horse's gait and a cow's nothing alike.
It's true.
Yeah. Rabbits, cats, deer, all of them different.
Yep. So what do you guys think? You think this one was predatory, or you think this was a bluff charge?
Bluff charge. Because like we said, as soon as you finished it, if it wanted to catch him, it could have.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too. I definitely was leaning toward bluff charge, but bluff charge or no, I'm pretty sure he was having a brown pants moment.
I don't think there was anything he could have done or anything that he did do.
No.
That stopped that. That was strictly up to that thing as to how that ended.
Oh yeah, it was letting him know I could have had you if I wanted you, but instead of
or maybe he did crap his pants and it was like, whew, no, I'm not getting that one.
Maybe so.
Why do they keep doing that?
Is this a defense mechanism?
But that's not the only story we've talked about out of the Blue Ridges. The last show there was one up in the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be a great area for us to go investigate.
That would be fun.
Some thick woods up there. There's some really sheer cliffs. There's a lot of stuff that goes on up there too. You know, it's the Appalachian.
Oh, the Blue Ridge right through the Smokies?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, man.
Thanks, Clayton. I'll check into that. I'm sure I can use it under fair use. I just got to look up how much I can play at a time. Boondock Mojo, Corey Cole says, sometimes those footfalls you hear behind you is the sound of your own heart pumping in your eardrums. I imagine he heard a fair bit of that himself.
I'm sure.
Jeff Yarrington says, I had something chase up the road one time. Sounded like 2 big flat feet slapping the pavement.
That's how it sounds when I run, because my feet are triangles.
Smack, 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 smack.
It is like flap, flap, flap.
Doc sounds like a duck running.
I do. I do.
Lori Gibbs says, I'll probably not get to the Appalachians or Smoky Mountains, but in the Pacific Northwest, and hope to have something happen. Just be careful what you wish for, and have an exit strategy.
Have fun with that.
Yeah. Stray Wolf says you should check out the Bigfoot Museum in Blue Ridge, Georgia. I'd love to.
Yeah, I've been by it a couple times, and I'd always meaning to stop, but never have time to.
That's cool.
Lone Queen says that whole area is rough and well timbered, had lots of parks and off-limit private hunting tracts.
It's pretty much, my Doc. You're not wrong. So Doc sounds like a frog running upright. Oh, that's funny. All right. So what else we going to talk about with this thing? What we got?
Well, the perch was interesting. I mean, it wasn't trying to hide.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, once he stopped and started looking around, it had probably been there the whole time. He just hadn't seen it. Like we were saying, most people don't look up.
No, you're right, man. Because I don't sit there and continually look up while I'm on a hiking trail. I'm usually just looking out at the view or whatever. I don't really look up.
Well, but it's, think about that guy that we encountered out in Combs Ferry that time.
Mm-hmm.
What was he doing? He was looking down, walking, and DA, while you were over there talking to him, and he said that, I turned around and looked at Doc. I said, yeah, I would expect he hadn't seen nothing. Look how he's walking. He's walking with his head down. He ain't looking around.
Right.
That's I mean, nothing against the guy, but that's the way a lot of people go into the woods. They're like you said, DA, they're either listening to their headphones or they're in their own little world thinking about stuff. Their situational awareness just sitting there.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And I think that's kind of telling with a lot of people too, because if you get your head stuck in your phone, or you're playing with your iPod, or if you're just looking at your feet, you're going to miss a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, how many people have probably been snake bit because they weren't paying attention and stepped on a snake?
Well, that bit I put in Operation Lily, where Margolin grabbed that snake out of the tree branch that almost bit Valkyrie in the face. That was actually based off what happened with me and my uncle. When I was about 13, we just moved back to Missouri from New Mexico. And New Mexico, you ain't got to worry about snakes and trees. It's the only thing you really got to worry about is the damn thing rattles at you. So I wasn't paying any attention. We were going fishing down by Hulls Ford up on the other side of Lebanon. And I was walking along fat, dumb, and happy carrying my tackle box and my fishing pole. And all of a sudden he pushes me to the side and takes his fishing pole and slaps this freaking cottonmouth right out of a tree. And I would have walked right into it if he hadn't have done that. Oh. So that bit with Valkyrie and Margolin was actually based on something that happened to me.
That's terrifying.
And it would have got me.
Yeah.
They can keep their distance from me. I'm totally okay with that.
I'm right there with you. I'm not a fan of nope ropes.
I do not like them. Buzzworms, note ropes, Satan strings.
I don't care for spiders either.
Danger noodle. Yeah, Angie ain't about spiders at all. She'll hold a snake, but spiders, she and that spider are going to have difficulties.
Dude, you should go out to Joe Bald with me sometime in the middle of summer. They get those big old freaking wolf spiders that spin in the trees, and they'll be that big around. We ran into one out there, so it was so damn big, I shot it. I literally drew my 9mm and shot it.
You got a tag for that thing? It's big enough for one.
Well, that was funny, though, because the web just snapped like that, and when it stopped moving, the legs were still there, but the spider was gone.
That's awesome.
But I'm like, nope, not dealing with that. Pow. That's worth a 9mm hollow point every day.
Oh, mercy. That's funny.
Do not care for spiders. No, thank you.
I mean, I ain't gonna go take long, windy walks on the beach with them, but I am definitely more irrationally terrified of snakes than I am of spiders. So I'm not gonna kill myself running out of the house if I see a spider.
Right. I'm not gonna burn the house down, but
yeah.
I will get a house shoe and end his career.
Yeah, exactly. Now Angie's so tenderhearted, even though she's terrified of them, she'll still try to find a way to put them outside or put them up.
We don't have that problem with Annette. Annette will yell for me, "Honey, there's a spider! Come kill it!"
Yeah. We got this one spider that lives down in the basement, and we leave him alone because he kills all the flies.
Hey, if they leave me alone, I'm perfectly okay with that. But after I read that article that said the average human swallows like 3 spiders a night while sleeping, I was like, nope, every one of my fine dies now.
Oh, Lord.
I'm going to invest in one of them Hannibal Lecter masks to sleep in.
Put a mesh over it. Oh, man, that's funny.
Wake up and there's a spider sitting on it going, "Hello, Clarice."
It's like tapping on it. Let me in.
Exactly.
But when that thing stopped, when it stopped chasing him? Do you think it made its point, or if it was the whole intention was just to push him out of the area?
I think all of it.
Yeah. It got it
Mission
acquired
accomplished.
Yeah.
It got the result it wanted without having to take it up a notch.
Lone Queen's got a point. Says with the speed, quietness, and elevation of these creatures, I'd guess if anyone sees or hears one, they just assume it was a squirrel or another small creature. Yeah, you'd be amazed how many times that until I really had researched behavior, how many times I would ignore things like what we call the 500-pound owl. Now I would hear it and go, okay, that's weird, and never put two and two together. But as I got older and started reading more and more and digging more and more into the subject, and started realizing that that's some of the known behaviors of Bigfoot type creatures, that's when I really started noticing a lot of stuff in the woods. Like that night we were down at Blunk Road, and we saw that thing out in the water. I'm like, what in the heck is that? And it turned and looked at us.
Oh, that's what that is.
Like, oh, logs don't have eye shine.
Oh, and look, it's coming our way.
Yeah, it has turned around in the water and is coming back our direction. Robbie, get in the truck.
It did, because it had its back to us when we saw it. Because remember, Robbie, when we hit it it did his head, and you could see it blink.
Mm-hmm. It was easily in 7 or 8 feet of water too.
Yeah,
we was on a collision course till y'all got me in the truck. Because the two of us were walking in the same direction, and we was going to meet in the middle. Probably wouldn't come out too good for me, but
That's the night that Doc turned into Stroker Ace.
It happens
in an SUV.
It happens.
We definitely wasn't chilling on a dirt road.
Jeff Yarrington says holy.
Like George Jones.
Yeah, Jeff Yarrington says holy expletive that stump is moving. I think that might have been said.
Yeah.
Because we all thought it was a tree stump until it turned and looked at us.
We did. Yeah, stumps don't have heads and eyes.
Stumps don't have eye shine.
Yeah,
not in the middle of a river, they don't.
They're just stumps.
That stump's blinking at us.
And changed course.
It looks like the stump is running.
It was running. It happens.
I love you, idiots. But folks, if this Blue Ridge encounter was the moment a predator stepped out of the shadows and made its move, our next case takes us a little deeper into the mindset of a creature that doesn't just chase, it hunts. Because in the Klamath Mountains, a hunter didn't just see something in the trees. He watched it track him, step by step, from above. Doc, you want to take us into segment 4?
Certainly. This is the Klamath Treetop Tracker. Man, say that 6 times real fast. I
couldn't say it once.
I know. Klamath Mountains in California. Elevated tracking, a silent drop, and a downslope pursuit. The Klamath Mountains are rugged country, steep ridges, deep ravines, and forests so dense the light feels filtered even at noon. It's a place where the terrain itself feels alive and where every sound echoes strangely, and where hunters often say the woods watch back. Our fourth encounter comes from a seasoned hunter moving along a ridgeline trail just after dawn. The air was cold, the forest still, and the only sound was the crunch of his boots on the frost-hardened ground. And then he heard it. Footsteps. Not behind him, not beside him, above him. Heavy, deliberate bipedal footsteps pacing him from the ridge just upslope. Does that sound familiar?
Yes,
when he stopped, the footsteps stopped. When he moved, they moved. Always keeping the same distance, always saying just out of sight. He scanned the ridge, expecting to see another hunter, but the forest was empty. And then movement. A dark shape shifted in the branches of a pine tree about 12 to 15 feet off the ground. Not a bird and not a bear. Something crouched, balanced, and watching him move. And he froze. Figure didn't move. Not until he made eye contact, and then it dropped. It didn't fall. It didn't slip. It dropped. Straight down from the branch to the forest floor without a sound. No branch snapping, no bark tearing, just a silent, controlled descent that shouldn't have been possible for something that size. The hunter backed away, heart pounding, and the creature stepped forward, not charging, not rushing, just shadowing him, matching his pace as he moved down slope, staying just inside the tree line, always visible enough to remind him it was there. He described it as being escorted out of the woods by something that didn't want me there. And when he finally reached the clearing, the creature stopped at the edge of the trees, watched him, and then turned and vanished into the forest without a sound. Now, this is the moment in our escalation where the predator doesn't just reveal itself or test the prey. It controls the encounter. It chooses the distance, it chooses the pace, and it chooses when to appear and when to disappear. And this wasn't a curiosity encounter. This wasn't a warning necessarily. This was territorial enforcement, and the hunter knew it. I mean, it's almost like these things are getting closer and closer together. I mean, this one knew that he saw him. Didn't care that he saw him, and I think that's what he wanted. When he stood there, it's so funny. At the very end, he stopped right there at the tree line and watched him go, and then just turned around and said, "All right, well, time to go back to the house." You know.
Yeah. You know, today's not such a great day to hunt anyway.
Right. So
that's kind of like them stories you hear people escorting illegal hunters off their property, walk them to the edge of your property, and
then you turn around and go back home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, when he said it like lowered itself and then dropped to the ground without a sound, I've seen videos of chimps do that. They'll hang way off the branch by one arm and then drop to the ground with almost no sound at all.
That's wow.
Yep.
Man. And for something that big to drop without a sound,
I had a little different image in my head when he read that. I was thinking of Halloween H2O when Jamie Lee Curtis was walking down the hall and Michael Myers lowers himself down with one arm behind her and drops without a sound. She turns around.
Gotcha. I never saw that movie, but I can envision it the way you explained it since you're such a writer.
I wasn't writing that. I was speaking it, but thank you, Doc. I appreciate it.
No, that's pretty impressive for something that big to be that quiet, though. Really is.
Yeah.
Big time. So, what do y'all think?
Well, I think if it had, much like the other cases, if it had wanted him, it would have got him. It just wouldn't have revealed itself until he was too close to do anything about it.
Right, and notice, just like the other tactical consideration, where was it? It was up slope, and it was up on that ridge.
And it followed him down slope.
Uh-huh.
Well, I mean, honestly, it's not like anywhere they would encounter us that they wouldn't have a tactical advantage over us. I mean, yes, we have weapons, but if they're in a spot where they can get to us quick enough, our weapons aren't going to be
right. If they get too close too quick, what is it, like the 21-foot rule with a knife?
Yeah, the reactionary gap.
The reactionary gap.
They've actually moved that back to, it's not 21 feet anymore. It's like 30 feet.
It's 30 feet now. Yeah.
I know when we were in the academy and they were telling us about that. Yeah. Everybody that we were using a rubber knife, everybody that said, "Oh, I can beat that," everybody that said that got stabbed.
Yep.
Oh yeah, we actually did when I was doing a training one time, and before anybody, gun was completely unloaded, checked by the range master, everything was good, and we had a guy that was like, "Okay," so I had him step off way off beside me, and we paced off 25 feet. And I said, "All right, on your go. I'm not going to tell you go, and I'm going to stand here like this. And you take off and run to me." And there was somebody else was saying, "Oh, you can get your gun out before that." So had my partner do that, and yeah, I was about right here when he got to me, or past me rather.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
It's a legit thing. I mean, that reactionary gap, they teach you that for a reason.
Yeah.
Lori Gibbs said, "Can they live in trees?" I don't know if they live in the trees per se, but I'm certainly believe they use them. Both for camouflage, for hiding, for hunting purposes. They're certainly capable of climbing, but as for not whether they live there, I don't know. But I have heard a lot of researchers talking about finding large nests like gorillas use, like woven branches and vines. I found one.
I was just about to say, didn't you found one in that old house, didn't you?
Yeah, found one in an old house
Right. Oh,
out in the middle of nowhere.
while I'm thinking about it, so considerations too. When Robbie was doing that at the department, that was the reactionary gap between someone with a human stride.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So double the stride, and you cut that reactionary gap in half.
Yeah. In fact, I would when it comes to cryptids, if it came to a life-saving situation, I would say you probably shouldn't let them get within pistol range. If you've got to use your pistol, it's probably already too late.
Yeah.
You don't want them to get closer than probably 50 meters. If they're charging you, you're in a lot of trouble. Lone Queen says, could that mid-tarsal break help it land more quietly, not just potentially help it walk quietly?
Well, we kind of talked about that Wednesday night.
Sure did. Well, no, I wasn't there, but yeah, we've talked about that before too. About how it has a better foot roll.
Yeah,
right.
But
Thank you, Lori.
As it coming down like this versus how our feet come down is like this. With that mid-tarsal break, when they pick their foot up, I think it comes down like this because of that break, and it just allows it to fan out more.
It flows.
So,
flows.
It's like I use that example. Have you ever done that, Doc, where you put your hand on the table like that and then hit it, and it doesn't hurt? Same thing. That same principle. It's more like a shock absorber.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But downslope movement is usually difficult for big animals, yet that thing moved easily.
Yeah, and I mean effortlessly, even.
Yeah.
You know, and that's as it was basically it was saying, all right, now I know you're going to see me, and you're going to see that I'm coming to you. So, what's your reaction going to be? And thankfully, that dude had the right reaction. You know what I mean? And
like the missing 411 hunters, I think if he'd have taken the shot, we'd have never heard this story.
Bingo! I was just about to say that. Yeah, man. And so, it is. It's funny because this is it didn't yell at him, it didn't growl at him, it didn't throw anything at him. It just showed itself and said, it's time for you to go. So this is what is called the predatory escorting, where they push prey out of their territory. That's pretty interesting.
Madison says, why do you think Bigfoot has feet like humans instead of other known species such as gorillas or chimpanzees? I think that the morphology of their foot is more geared toward bipedal motion, but I guarantee you they still have strong enough grips with their toes and with that mid-tarsal break that they're still grabbing branches. So I would say it's not like they have a more human. I think it's just more human-like. I would guarantee you that foot is probably still prehensile. It can still grip.
Yeah.
In fact, we've watched videos of dogs who grip things with their paws. So it is clearly not outside the realm of possibility for that thing to grip with its feet. We had a bull mastiff named Coda, and I'd take the boys to the park. They were pretty little, and he got to watch them, and I guess he thought it was a hoot and a half. And whenever the boys would run up the slide and slide down, he would go right up behind them, slide down the slide, and run around and get in line with them. Did it every time.
That's hilarious.
It's pretty funny watching 140 pounds of dog climb the steps on a slide and then go down it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, man.
So, what do you think? Is it, again, I've already kind of figured this in my head, but I wanted to hear what you guys kind of either confirm it or come up with a different theory. Do you think this was, aggression or just territorial?
I think it's territorial aggression.
Yeah, I think it was territorial, and it just threw a little bit of extra spice on it, just to get the desired result.
Well, I think he definitely got the desired result.
Yeah. I mean, and I would say if he showed himself or made a vocalization and didn't do anything, so that's what you're saying, right? And that's territorial. But when you show yourself and you say you come at them, bro, then I think that's where there's that aggression there.
Yeah,
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And you think about this in our terms, DA. We've been out working traffic all day, and you stop somebody and they just give you a rash of crap because you're the first cop that they have dealt with all day, but they're not the first person that you've dealt with all day.
Generally not the first idiot either.
Yeah.
So how many other people had that particular individual had to be dealing with, and maybe his give a damn had just busted, and he was like, I've had it with these people coming in my backyard.
Yeah.
That reminds me of one time, Robbie, I was working a traffic accident, and I was directing traffic around it. And we was August. We were sweating our butt off out there, black uniforms and with body armor, sweating like crazy. And clearly you can see the tow truck flipping one of the cars over. And this guy pulls up next to me and rolls his window down. And I feel that air conditioner kind of waft at him and goes, "What happened?" And I looked over at the truck, the tow truck, and looked back at him and said, "Shark attack."
That's good.
And
boating accident.
It never fails. You're out there direct traffic. There's a line of cars a mile long. You're trying to get these traffic moving. Somebody pulls. Hey, how do I get the? I don't know. I don't care. Just move.
Well, step one is you go away now.
Can you tell me how far to?
I feel for y'all, brother, because y'all deal with some rocket surgeons for sure.
I used to tell people, "Oh, you can't get there from here."
Use that one a couple times myself.
Oh, mercy. That was
funny. How do I get Sosa? No, don't know. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, we got this brand new invention. You may not have heard about it, but it's called Google Maps. Maybe you should look into it.
Mercy day.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody sent me a meme the other day. Matter of fact, I think it was my sergeant. He said, you finally get a break, pull into a church just in the middle of nowhere, just get your sandwich to your mouth, and some random person pulls up beside you. I've had that happen so many times. I just want to eat. People, leave me alone.
I had you remember that show Southland it used to be on?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the episode where they went and stopped on a hot day and were getting ice cream and that lady went off on them? I actually had something like that happen to me. I sat down for the first time that day to eat some lunch, and this lady's like, "We pay your salary. We don't pay you being here to eat." I'm like, "This is my lunch break, lady. I get one."
Surefire way to never eat.
Yeah.
Just go sit down.
Right. Or someone will walk up and say, "Hey, I have a question." I'm like, "Okay. Well, this happened like 3 weeks ago. Should I report it?" Too late to report it. Should have reported it right when it happened.
And working as a paramedic, the best thing we always do, we'll get done with our run and we'll go eat right then before we were up in rotation again. And then sometimes they get back-to-back fire alarms.
Oh, yeah.
And then we're like sitting there getting toned out to go. Like, dang it. Yeah. Frustration.
Yeah, I can tell you a lot of meals were eaten, basic training Army style. Woof, 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 woof. Just literally. As fast as I could shove it in my mouth, running back to the car.
Literally. That's why after that, doing that a few times, I brought my lunch more than anything. It was just easier keeping a little ice chest.
Boys, we probably ought to drag this back on topic.
Yeah, a little bit. I was just thinking that. I was like, oh.
Sorry, folks. But I'm just trying to get my train of thought back on track. Done derailed that thing.
We were talking about the tracking, the perch, and the drop. And then whether aggressive or, like Robbie said, it was it was not tactically aggressive. It was territorially aggressive.
Territorially,
Right.
Yeah, that word. Territorially.
Territorially.
All righty then. You know what? How about we just head on into segment 5 then, since we kind of covered this and then derailed ourselves.
Do you want me to segue in?
Sure. I'll take segment 5.
Okay. So if the Klamath encounter was the moment the predator showed that it could control the terrain, our next case is the moment it showed how quickly it could close the distance. Because in Alberta, a logging crew didn't just see something on the ridge. They watched it descend towards them with impossible speed. So, DA, take it away with segment 5.
Sounds good. This happened in Alberta, Canada. It's called the Alberta Ridge Walker. The forests of Alberta are vast, cold, and quiet in ways that feel ancient. Towering spruces, long ridge lines, valleys that swallow sound. It's the kind of place where you can walk for hours and never see another human being, and where something else can watch you without you ever seeing it's there. This is our 5th encounter, folks, and it comes from a logging crew working deep in the backcountry. These weren't just hikers. They weren't some random campers. These were men who spent their lives in the woods. Men who knew the difference between a bear, a moose, and something that didn't belong there. It started when one of the crew noticed something moving on the ridgeline above them. A large, upright figure walking parallel to their position. Not crossing the ridge and not wandering around. It was tracking them. At first, they thought it was another worker, but the distance was wrong, the height was wrong, the gait was wrong, and the figure never broke its line. It just kept pace, step for step, always staying just above them and always maintaining the same distance. But as the crew moved through the valley, the figure moved with them. When they slowed, it slowed. When they stopped, it stopped. And when they changed direction, it adjusted its path to stay on the ridge. It wasn't curiosity or coincidence. It was deliberate positioning. So the men started to get pretty uneasy. They're being watched, studied from above, and the figure wasn't trying to hide it. It wanted them to know it was there. Then the moment came where their unease turned to primal fear. The figure on the ridge stopped. It turned and started coming down the slope toward them. Not cautiously, not hesitantly, but crashing through the brush with incredible speed, covering the ground in long, powerful strides, moving down the incline like gravity didn't apply to it. The crew froze, and the figure closed half the distance in seconds. And then, just as suddenly as it started, it stopped. No sound, no movement, nothing. Just a massive silhouette standing halfway down the slope, staring at them. One of the men later said, it wasn't avoiding us, it was positioning. The creature held its ground for several long seconds, long enough for the crew to understand exactly how quickly it could have reached him if it wanted to. Then it turned, walked back up the slope, and vanished over the top of the ridge. The crew refused to return to the site the next day. And the thing is this is the moment in that when the escalation, when the predator doesn't just stalk you or chase, it intercepted him. It chose the terrain, it chose the angle, and it chose the moment to close the distance. And it chose to stop. Not because it couldn't reach him, because it didn't need to.
Uh-huh. It's like, I see you. Now you can see me.
Yeah.
Now you
follow them, parallel them up on a ridge line.
Yeah.
And staying in clear view where they could see it.
Staying in clear view and elevated position and never broke pace with them. It adjusted its path to stay along with them. I mean, dude, if that's not a deliberate, hey, I'm right here, then I don't know what is, man. That's as like bold as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
do it.
But
Lone Queen, you got a point. So it seems if you put the clear hair shafts, insane speeds, rough terrain, vegetation, and mind-blown state of the viewers, it makes sense why some people think they're teleporting. Yeah, especially if something moves faster than you think it should be able to.
well, and think about that. If it's moving that fast and all of a sudden it stops, and that adaptive camouflage is what we think it is, and it just blends in instantaneously once it stops moving, that's probably what it appears like it's doing.
Well, like on the Paul Freeman footage, you could see it plain as day walking across that clearing when it stopped in front of that tree. It was just gone.
Yeah.
And it didn't, Scotty didn't beam it up. It didn't cross through a portal. It didn't turn invisible. But when it realized Freeman was still coming, it started walking again. You could see it plain as day.
Yeah. And what, and like we've talked about on so many shows, all these animals with adaptive camouflage, just like those rams and, like your deer out in the woods. I've literally had a deer 25 yards in front of me. I didn't see that sucker until it moved.
Well, but the thing with the Paul Freeman footage, Doc, is that was filmed on those old handheld cassette, VHS, little micro VHS, those high eights or whatever they call them. VHS-C. We still have one in the closet somewhere. I don't know if it still works, but it was filmed on actual film, not a digital camcorder.
Right. Yeah. So it picks up that kind of stuff. That's
right.
Yeah.
I ought to get that thing out and see if it still works, because it had low light and thermal on it. Not thermal, but had IR on it.
Infrared, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That really should.
And that thing still works. That might be a good, if you can still find cassettes for it, because it took them little ones.
If it's the VHS-Cs, I don't know, man. They may still have that. Interesting.
Let me see if I can dig that thing out. If it still works, it might be a great little tool to take with us.
Be a good one to take, absolutely. All right.
Jeff Yarrington says sometimes deer will just disappear in front of you. Yep, seen it happen.
Yep.
Vincent, absolutely correct. That's something we've been saying for at least 3 years. That those clear hair shafts, the current generation of ghillie suits that they're making have fiber optic shafts in them. Why? Because that clear fiber optic shaft picks up and redirects the color of light around it, making it better camouflage.
Really?
Why is the military using it? Because it works.
I did not. That is awesome.
They are incorporating fiber optics into the latest generations of ghillie suits, because when they're laying still, that clear glass shaft picks up whatever colors around it and redistributes it through the suit.
Well, raise my rent. That's pretty awesome.
It's pretty freaking cool.
That is pretty freaking cool.
Because it was, to me, it was a validation of our theory when I read about that.
Where does technology get a lot of its ideas from? Nature.
Animal kingdom.
Absolutely, man.
And I guarantee you, our government's known about these things for a long time. So where do you think that idea came from?
How did we get sonar for our submarines?
Listening to whales and dolphins.
Yeah.
Because sound travels better through water than it does through air.
Yeah.
How did we develop radar?
Bats.
I mean,
a lot of our technology has come because we studied the living world around us.
We learned how an airplane needs to fly. We looked at birds' wings.
Birds.
Yeah.
Studied aerodynamics.
Yeah. Crazy, man. Crazy.
Clayton Plott says Usain Bolt ran 27.8 miles per hour and did a 100-meter sprint in 9.58 seconds. If he's 6'5", imagine the speed of something 8 to 9 feet tall.
Dude. Yeah. With a lot more musculature too, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's probably a whole lot more endurance too. Taking a lot more breath and a lot more muscles can be a lot more oxygenated.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And there's so many reports of those things getting alongside a car and staying with it till it gets to 40 or 50 miles an hour.
Golly Moses. Wow. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely letting them know just how fast it could get to them if it wanted to.
Yep.
Well, those guys described it walking along that ridge line. At first, they thought it was a person, but then realized that it didn't walk like a person. It was taking long strides, moving upright. It was effortless, not the arm swinging no arm swinging irregularities or balance issues. It was moving fluidly, and I don't know about you, but I've walked over a lot of broken terrain, and I don't look like I'm graceful in any way, shape, or form walking over broken terrain.
Nah. Me neither.
And it coming down the side of that bluff in seconds and then just stopping. That is pure intimidation. Like if I had chosen to continue, I would already be ripping you guys apart.
That's like him coming up to him, Robbie, and going, or as we say down south, he done bowed up to him.
That, my friends, would be, now that's an attention grabber.
Exactly.
That's like bucking somebody's shoulder as you're walking by them.
100%. I mean, that's his dude. That's as alpha territorial as it gets right there. It's like, you are in my house, and it's time for you to go.
Come at me, bro.
Come at me.
That was straight up challenge and intimidation. It's like, look how fast I could have gotten to you. Yeah. You're still here because I let it happen.
Yeah. And if I wanted to take this next little bit of distance, I could get to you before you'd even have a chance to turn and run.
Estelle, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Happy Valentine's Day to all of those of you who partake. Say happy Valentine's Day to my bride, who's in the other room probably ignoring me. We met actually 2 days after Valentine's Day in 1992. We went on the 16th, so we celebrate our Valentine's Day on the 16th. And speaking of that, she wanted me to make sure I let everybody know there won't be a Monday Mayhem because she's asked me to, since we're now officially been together as of the 16th upon Monday, 33 years ago we met. Wow. And so it's our meeting anniversary. So it won't be a Monday Mayhem because I'm taking her out for the night.
Congratulations.
Booked us a hotel and everything.
Nice. Congratulations, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun. I might have myself an adult beverage or two.
As you should.
Oh.
Mondoc says St. John Moses Browning's Valentine's Day is 1911. Yeah, might be one of those. Right here on the desk.
Before we go into the last segment, you want to mention about the meet and greet, so give people.
Yeah, we're going to have to stop for a break in about 5 minutes. So why don't we go ahead and talk a little bit about the meet and greet?
All right.
This is, any of you guys who are interested, this is not our, this is not our event. Woodwalkers is having a meet and greet in LBL this year. They have one every year. And this year they invited us, not to be confused with the event we're wanting to plan in LBL, because we're planning on getting with Jessica Jones, the Woodwalkers, the folks over at Old Line Cryptids, and maybe a few others, and having our own convention either in LBL or in one of the convention centers right close to it. That's still in the planning stages. We're hoping to have that maybe set up sometime next year, because I discovered that there's a hell of a lot more to planning a convention than I ever thought there was. There's a lot to it, folks. But this is the Woodwalkers event. It's their meet and greet. They invited me, Doc, and Robbie to come and speak and hang out and talk with folks. I can't sleep on the ground. This is a camping event. So Doc, Robbie, and I got us a cabin about 10 minutes away. It's pretty close, but I just can't. I can't sleep on the ground, not with my back. With what day is it? What days are it, Robbie?
The 10th, 11th, and 12th of April.
Okay, 10th, 11th, and 12th in April. That's a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday, ain't it?
Yep.
Okay, so if you guys are interested in going, come hang out and have some barbecue or grill burgers over the fire or something. If you guys want to come and hang out and meet everybody, the folks from the Woodwalkers are going to be there. There's going to be a bunch of folks there. I think
Jeff's
they even
gonna try to be there too. So
yeah, I think Jeff's going to try to be there. Jessica. I think they even invited Cam Buckner. I don't know if he's coming or not, but
he was at the last.
Yeah,
last one that I went.
And Miss Naomi will probably be there. There'll be a bunch of folks that'll be there, talking about podcasts and telling Bigfoot stories and all kinds of things. So if you guys are interested, you need to go over to the Woodwalkers page on Facebook or email Spencer, Greg, or Misty. Just reach out to them personally because they need to know exactly how many people are coming because they're only booking enough campsites to cover. We don't want to book the entire campsite if only half of that's going to show up.
So what Spencer told me is because it's such a big event, there's all kinds of forms that they have to do and permits they have to get, and because of the number of people, the LBL itself puts on an extra ranger that will sporadically throughout the time come by and check on everything and make sure so they can't have a whole lot more than what's on there. So Spencer needs to have that form in pretty quick. So if you want to go, you need to get on that. What DA was starting to say, if you go to their Facebook page, they have an events tab. Go to that events tab and you fill out that paperwork. Or like he said, if you got one of their emails and want to email them directly, you can do it that way.
Just a guy. It's going to be an LBL, Land Between the Lakes. So it's Colson's Holler. That's the name of the campground.
Yep.
It should be a lot of fun. They invited us last year, but I couldn't do it. So I've wanted to do this event for a while, but hopefully everything, all the stars align and everything works out like it's supposed to. But it should be a lot of fun, and we'll be there. We might even bring a few books with us. For those of you who might be interested in one, get somebody that's a brand new author to sign a book or two. We'll be there and we're gonna hopefully be able to hang out and have a good old time and maybe share some stories, share some fire space, and maybe share an adult beverage or two. And I think it's going to be a good time. So check it out. It's the Woodwalkers Meet and Greet. And again, you got, like Robbie was saying, go over to their Facebook page and fill out the paperwork on their event tab. Or you can reach out to Spencer, Greg, or Misty directly. But yeah, I think it's going to be a cool event. Apparently it's been hugely successful in the last few years. I just really sorry I couldn't go before. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes.
Yep. It's gonna be a good time.
Clayton Plotz 2280 says, are you all taking this out on a hunt? Well, there might be some of that going on. We might see what I can put some groups together and go over and look for the original kill site and places like that. Doc and Robbie and I are going to get there a little early so we can scout out some locations. But there might be some of that. There might be some folks going out, checking things out. So
who wants to go?
Don't rule it out.
Who wants to go on a ride with me?
Wear your seatbelt. Buckle up, Buttercup.
Bring a helmet.
Hold on, Sweet Pickles. Here we go.
Yeah, it's going to be like the short round on Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Hold on, lady. We're going for a ride.
Oh, yeah. When he yelled at Kate Capshaw.
You call him Dr. Davis, doll.
Oh, Lord.
Stroke Race 2.0. I think it's beyond 2.0. He's done it a few times.
In that one night.
Yeah, in that one night. He did it down at Blunk Road, did it over at Joe Ball, did it in Moon Valley. I mean, you set a land speed record between Moon Valley and Bennett Springs.
I was incentivized.
Yeah, and after dark, Doc wouldn't even look at the dollhouse place.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm like pointing it out. I'm like, hey, slow down. I'll show it to you. And Doc just like white knuckling the steering wheel, won't even turn his head. Nope. Just keep right on driving.
No, thank you, sir. I'm good.
Well, folks, we gotta take a quick pause for a commercial break. I was losing track of time there. We will be right back here in just a minute, so stick with us.
monsters still walk the earth. One author dares to face them. From the brutal cryptid horror of the Apex Predator series to the Ozark legends that stalk the night in Lakeview Man. From the elite warriors of codename Wild Hunt to the relentless investigations of the Nightmare Hunter and the frontier terror of Dark Frontiers. When the Dead Rise, the Ragnarok Rising Saga unleashes pure zombie apocalypse fury. And across the stars, war rages in the Lost Legion and Man's Marauders. And in the realm of myth and steel, the world of Vanguard calls to those born for legend. Cryptids, zombies, sci-fi warfare, epic fantasy. This is the universe of D.A. Roberts. The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to research a haunted house can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unxmedia.com or amazon.com. That's unxmedia.com or amazon.com.
Hey everybody, this is Kerry Pocket Doc Davis from Dark Angel Medical, and you are listening to DA Ex Machina with D.A. Roberts. You may recognize me or some of my products from Dark Angel Medical in some of the Apex Predator, Lakeview Man, and Wild Hunt books, and you can get those products at www.darkangelmedical.com, along with training classes on how to use those products and save a life. Shoot us an email at info@darkangelmedical.com and be the difference.
And we are back, folks. Boys, do you mind covering for me for just a minute? I had to run all the commercials, so I couldn't hit it go to the bathroom during the break. So I got to go now. I'll be right back.
Sure thing.
Yes.
Hey, Robbie.
Hey, Doc. But so we can talk some more about the meet and greet while we're waiting on DA. So
yeah.
So the answer to the hunt questions, like DA said, I know the last time I was there that Spencer and them took some people out into different spots. So I'm sure there'll be more of that going on. That'd be more of a question for Spencer. What's up, Eric?
Hey, Eric.
So that would be, matter of fact, I talked to Spencer on the phone just before we started tonight, and he's working his fingers to the bone trying to get everything. I'm sure Misty and Greg are too, trying to get everything ready because there's a lot of red tape that they got to go through to get this thing going on.
Yeah.
Which that kind of it kind of scares me thinking about all the stuff we're gonna have to do to plan ours, Doc.
I know, man. That's going to be a lot of logistic work.
Yep. But maybe we'll learn some stuff on this one that'll help us out.
Yeah.
I'm hoping anyway.
I think so. Yeah. I think
But
so.
yeah, so like I said, if y'all want to come hang out, get on over to the Woodwalkers Facebook page and get that filled out, or give one of them an email, and so we can hang out.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Welcome back, DA. You look like you feel a lot better.
I do. It was a Forrest Gump moment. I gotta pay.
I believe he said he had to go to the bathroom.
Whew.
They must make him about 15 Dr. Peppers.
Actually, it was 2 green teas and a big cup of coffee.
Oof, that'll do it.
That'll do it every time. Now, let us jump into this one. So, if the Alberta Ridgewalker was the moment that a predator showed how quickly it could close the distance, our final case is the moment it really didn't need to. Because in Washington's Olympic Peninsula, a bow hunter didn't just see something in the trees. He radioed it in, and then he vanished. Segment 6. Doc, you want to take this one and lead us out?
I think this one's mine. Doc,
Oh, is it? Well, go for it. I can't keep track.
Yeah, you got off, but I didn't say anything. I knew it was. I kept up with it. The Olympic Peninsula tree line disappearance. Case number 6, Olympic National Park in Washington. Category, elevated sighting, radio call, vanishing, missing 411 case. The Olympic Peninsula is one of the most unforgiving landscapes in North America. Dense rainforest, towering cedars, moss-draped branches that swallow sound. It's a place where the canopy hangs so thick that daylight feels like dusk, and dusk like the forest is closing in around you. Our final encounter begins with a bow hunter moving along a creek bed deep inside the park. He was experienced, confident, and familiar with the terrain. He'd hunted these woods for years. He knew the trails, the ridges, the game paths. He knew what belonged in the forest and what didn't. Just after midday, he radioed his partner. His voice was calm but focused. "I've got movement in the trees above the creek, something big. Not beside him, not ahead of him, but above him." He described seeing a large, dark shape moving through the branches, too big to be a cat, too controlled to be a bear. It wasn't crashing through the canopy. It was moving with purpose, shifting from branch to branch, keeping pace with him as it followed him through the creek. He said he was going to get a better look. That was the last transmission anyone ever heard from him. When he failed to return to camp, the search was launched. SAR teams combed the area, and they found no tracks, no sign of a struggle, no blood, no clothing, no broken branches, nothing, except for one thing. At the base of a massive cedar tree, one of the oldest in the valley, they found his pack and his bow, neatly placed, not dropped, not scattered, but arranged. SAR dogs were brought in. They circled the tree, sniffed the ground, then something strange happened. They lifted their heads, looked up, and alerted into the branches. Not on the ground, not in the creek, and not on the trail, but in the trees. Handlers reported the dogs showing intense interest in the canopy, whining, pacing, staring upwards, as if the scent trail didn't end at the forest floor, but above it. The search continued for days. No tracks, no scent trail, no body. The hunter was never found. This is the final step in our escalation tonight. The moment where the predator doesn't just reveal itself, or test, or chase, or intercept. It takes and leaves nothing behind. Not a struggle, not a trail, not a trace. Just silence and trees.
What do you want to bet he stopped to take a break? And that's when he radioed in and gone.
Yeah.
Like placed his pack and his bow against the tree and started to radio it in and got yanked up into that tree.
Mm-hmm.
Gone. And this one, it's now it's now definitely something that has crossed the territorial line, the aggression line, into a predation line.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, this fellow was straight up taken.
Yeah,
Yep.
he got snatched for sure.
In mid-transmission.
That's the scariest thing right there. That's the scariest thing right there, man.
Like radioed in and started to answer and gone.
Yeah,
Just that fast.
like a fart in the wind.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Always. I got to say that at least every show, man. But yeah, I mean, the way the dogs alerted. I ain't never worked around dog teams. I've been around, but never worked around them. But the way they alerted up, it's like they didn't track forward. They stopped, and then they
stopped. It's like they stopped right where they started. They brought them into the last known spot, which is where all the stuff was, and they didn't go no further. They just looked up. So that tells me that DA's probably right. He was probably sitting there getting ready to make a transmission, and he got
the habeas gravis put on him.
yoinked.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever came to the ground. Because if it had touched the ground, its scent would have been down there, and those dogs would have freaked out. But if it just reached down out of the branches and scooped him up like plucking a peach off a tree, the dogs could smell his scent, but it didn't smell the creatures.
Isn't that funny? Yes. Yeah. Raising their noses up and just sniffing the air.
Arlen, I'm right there with you, buddy. I take a diuretic, and when diuretic's like, oh, by the way, you need to pee, that would have been 2 minutes ago.
We already started.
Yeah. We're fixing to start without you, so you better get a move on, fat boy. Long pig tree trout. Wonder if part of him's stuck in the crook of a tree as a territorial warning.
Definitely could be, man. Definitely could be.
Jeff Yarrington says he got yanked off the ground like a rag doll. I think that's exactly what happened to him. I think he probably set his pack and bow down, was radioing in, and just right up into the tree he went.
Yep. Yoink.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was doing something when he got zipped, and he was in mid-transmission.
Victor says, as a retired forest ranger, never spoke to my coworkers of my rock-throwing howling encounter. I bet not. And yeah, I've talked to a few, like Missouri Department of Conservation workers who'd say, well, yeah, I've heard lots of weird crap happen, but I'm not going on record. One guy told me he wasn't even going to talk about. Well, he told me the story, but then when I contacted him here recently, I'm like, "Hey, you want to come on the show and talk about it now that you're retired?" He's like, he says, "I better not if I want to keep my pension."
Dang.
Yep. Well, it's like we said, I mean, the story we read where the supervisor told the guy, "Oh yeah, you're not the first."
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for the heads up there, buddy.
Yeah. This has happened before. Okay.
I'm not voting for supervisor of the month.
Exactly. Oh man. Yeah, that's
I'm sorry, does a butt kicking fall underneath an open door policy? Jeff Harrington says, I got a video Brian Barber sent me of a deer on a game cam getting yanked off camera. I can't remember where he found it.
Wow.
I'd like to see that. We need to get Brian back on the show anyway.
I think we've seen that before, DA.
I think we have. I think it's just been a while.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. And I want to say it was sometime maybe last year that we saw the video. Maybe towards the first of the year. But I remember something about a deer getting exited stage left even.
At the big resounding yoink.
Yep. Yoink.
You'd see the shepherd's crook come out onto the camera and
it's the Megatroid.
Oh, that's funny. Oh.
Clayton says there was enough trees in the 1600s in the U.S. for a squirrel to travel from the North Carolina shore all the way to the Mississippi River without touching the ground. I don't doubt it. I would love to have seen it like that.
Yeah, man. That'd been cool.
Just a guy says, did he decline anonymous telling? No, we've talked about the story on the show. If you guys would like me to tell you the story again on the show again, it's happened right here in Missouri, just a couple hours drive from here. But I'll be happy to do that on the show again. And again, this was a story I got firsthand. So, but apparently now that he's retired, he still doesn't want to go on the record. So, I don't blame him. Yeah, I'll work that into a show here soon. That'd be a good crescendo one because of the way that story ends.
That means halfling.
It's only 10 after 9. If you guys want to hear it now, I'll dig it up. Let me see if I can find it.
Crescendo away.
Crescendo away, yeah. Let me see. Well, all right then. Let me downsize that. Okay. This story was told to me firsthand. I actually took this story encounter from the guy. He at the time he was still with the MDC, but now he's retired. But the story, the way I wrote it down was back the way I first heard it. So if it says that he, if it's got the wrong tense to some of it, that's because that's the way it's written. I'll try to correct it on the fly. But the man that told me this story said I could share it, but asked to remain anonymous. For the story, we'll just call him Tim. That's not his real name. Tim worked for the Conservation Department along the Missouri-Arkansas border and did so for many years, down in an area near Koshkonong, which covers part of the Mark Twain National Forest. At the time I wrote this, he was still employed with him, but now he's retired. But he asked not to reveal his name for fear of reprisals or losing his pension. This is his story in his own words. He said, I've been a state employee for the last 20 years, 15 of that as an agent, investigating and prosecuting poachers on state land. During my time, people joked about Bigfoot, and we even used to scare campers and newly graduated agents with scary campfire stories of giant hairy monsters in the Mark Twain. But honestly, I'd never seen anything and didn't really believe it was out there. That all changed one day in late August, and this would have been August, I think, if I remember correctly, of 2018. So I was investigating allegations of long-term poaching by a man we'll just call Tom. I've known Tom for a long time, having been a game warden in the area where he lived for many years. He'd spoken to me many times when checking in legally taken deer. However, we knew he was harvesting deer out of season, but we just couldn't prove it. I'd been trying to catch him at home so we could search his freezer for illegally obtained venison, but I could never find him there. Finally, I managed to catch his wife at home and confronted her about the poaching. She immediately broke down crying and admitted that they'd been keeping themselves fed by illegally harvesting deer and other wildlife, which I believe now is legal in Missouri, is like if you're doing it to survive. But it wasn't at the time. But anyway, he says, I knew the family was impoverished and I didn't want to ruin them more financially, but I still had a job to do. That's when she told me something that caught my attention. She told me where he'd been hunting recently, and he hadn't returned home in several days. She was worried something had happened to him and asked if I could find him and bring him home. She gave me the exact location, and I agreed to try to find him. It was early enough in the day that I knew I could get to the location with plenty of light left to search for Tom. I left and called the office, letting them know where I was going and what I was planning to do. They asked if I needed another agent to back me up, but I declined. In retrospect, I wish I hadn't done that, but I wasn't expecting trouble. It took me just over an hour to get to the location south of Koshkonong, Missouri. It was close to the Arkansas state line, but well within Missouri, so I had no concerns about jurisdiction. However, if he fled into Arkansas, all I had to do was wait for him to return to his vehicle or contact Arkansas authorities to pick him up when he left the woods. Tom wasn't violent, so I wasn't expecting a fight from him. I figured he'd just give up as soon as I confronted him. He's pushing 70 years old and he had a bad leg, so it wasn't like he was exactly a flight risk or a physical threat. I arrived in the area and found the old logging road he'd used to get back into the woods. It was right where his wife said it would be. The road was rutted and overgrown, but not impassable. I had a good four-wheel drive and had been into much worse. A mile or so into the woods, I spotted his red Ford four-wheel drive. It was an old truck, and I recognized it instantly because the right front quarter panel didn't match the rest of the truck. It was green and made the truck pretty easy to identify. I pulled up beside his truck and exited my vehicle. The truck wasn't locked, and a small campsite was just in front of it. The tent was unzipped, but no one was inside. The sleeping bag was still unrolled, and a backpack sat undisturbed next to it. There was a fire pit, but the coals were long cold. From the look of it, there hadn't been a fire in a few days. I started to get a bad feeling that something had happened to Tom. I was concerned that he might have fallen or had a heart attack out here without anyone to help him. So I began to searching the campsite for tracks, hoping to get some idea of where he might be. There were 3 trails leading out of camp, and they had all been used within the last week. I was looking at boot prints and froze when I saw something completely unexpected. I saw a track that had to be every bit of 18 inches long, completely covering one of the boot prints. The odd part was, it looked like a giant bare footprint. I figured somebody had to be messing with me. The most recently used trail led off to the west, and I started following it. About 100 yards from the camp, I saw what had once been a deer stand. It was a metal climbing stand, and it had been attached to a large walnut tree. It had been ripped off the tree and twisted up like a pretzel, then smashed against the trunk. A few feet away was a lever-action Marlin 30-30 that had been bent in half. The lever was still extended and the chamber was empty. Whatever had happened here, Tom hadn't gone down without a fight. A knot was beginning to form in the pit of my stomach. I took out my phone, intending to call for backup, when I noticed that I didn't have any signal. I cursed softly and started to reach for my radio before I realized I hadn't grabbed it from the charger in the center console of my vehicle. It also occurred to me that I hadn't brought my rifle. That meant my only defense was a buck knife and a Glock 17 with 2 extra magazines. That's when I noticed the entire area was just dead quiet. Not like the quiet most people experience. The only sound was the wind just gently rustling through the leaves. That's it. It was unnaturally quiet, and I felt panic welling up in my gut. I wanted to break and run for the truck, but my knowledge of predators stopped me. I knew that it would incite an attack. I didn't know if it was a cougar, a bear, or something else entirely, but a big predator was definitely nearby. Then I remembered the footprint and nearly lost my resolve. I began backing slowly toward the truck, drawing my pistol as I moved. I swept the area, but I didn't see anything out of place, and that's when I saw a flash of blue in the brush to my left. I wanted to get out of the area, but I had to know for sure what it was. I cautiously pushed the branches aside and found Tom. His eyes were wide open in terror, and his head was twisted backwards. It also looked like his arms and legs were broken since they were all lying at odd angles. He was a good 30 yards from the wreckage of his deer stand. From his color, I could tell he'd been dead for at least a couple of days. It would take a coroner to say for sure, but this wasn't my first dead body. You kind of get a feel for these kind of things, and I knew I was right in the ballpark. I started to turn away when I saw something clutched in Tom's left hand. It was a clump of long, dark hair. I leaned closer and noticed a foul smell like a mixture of manure and rotten roadkill. It was nasty, and I backed away. A branch behind me snapped, and I turned to see a creature that had to be every bit of 8 feet tall staring back at me. It was shaped somewhere between a man and a gorilla. Its arms were longer than average, and its knees were bent more than is normal for a man. It was also swaying back and forth as it stared at me. It bared its teeth and reminded me of videos of chimps making a threat display. It made an odd ooh, ooh, ooh sound, too. The thing was powerfully built and looked like it could flip my truck over without much strain. My first instinct was to dump my full magazine into it and run for the truck. But I thought better of it. I sincerely doubted my little 9mm would do much more than make it mad, and I'd already seen what it could do to a man. I kept the barrel of the pistol low and began moving toward the truck. The creature watched me warily, and I could see it occasionally flicking its eyes toward the pistol. Whatever this thing was, it understood what a firearm was, and I got the distinct feeling that if I'd tried to raise it, the thing would have torn me apart. Once I was on the trail, I picked up my pace a little. It began following me, not getting closer, but not letting me get any farther away either. I knew I had a rifle in the truck, but I thought that getting the hell out of there was a better choice. It paced me until I got to my truck, and I fired up the engine. By the time I turned around to leave, I'd completely lost sight of it. I don't know which scared me worse, seeing it or not seeing it and knowing it was still out there. I knew it was still watching me, though, so I headed out of the area as quickly as I could safely drive. Once I was back on the highway, I got on the radio and called for additional units to assist with body recovery of a deceased subject who was the victim of some sort of animal attack. No sooner had I hung up the mic when my phone rang. It was my boss, and he wanted to know exactly what happened. I was so shaken up that I just blurted it all out. I told him everything, including the Bigfoot thing and the condition of the body. He was strangely calm when he told me to drop a GPS tag on the exact location of the body and to come back to the office. He didn't want me to go back out there. I asked about Tom's body, and he told me not to worry about it. It would all be taken care of. When I made it back, my boss called me into his office and shut the door. Inside were two men in military uniforms that I didn't recognize. I'd never seen them before. They presented Department of Defense credentials and didn't give me their names. I was then told that my official report was going to read that the subject had died from injuries sustained in a fall from his deer stand and that scavengers had gotten to the body. Positive identification had been made and his family would be informed of his death. But due to the condition of the body, they wouldn't be allowed to see it. I was then told in no uncertain terms that if I said anything other than what was contained in the report, then it would be the end of my career and I'd be prosecuted for violating a non-disclosure agreement that I was forced to sign. Honestly, I might have said too much by telling you this story already, and it could come back to haunt me. Fortunately, it's been long enough that I don't think anyone will even remember the event, much less the circumstances of Tom's death. Besides, and then, again, this was the time he told me, besides, I retired a couple of years and it won't matter anymore. The funny thing is, this isn't even the strangest thing that's happened in our department in the last 10 years or so. I'd love to tell you about those, but they're not my stories to tell. Maybe when I retire. Besides, who the hell's going to believe me?
You know, I've heard you tell that story about 4 or 5 times, and it's still just as spooky.
Isn't it?
I know where it's going. I know what's happening. I know what's going to be said, and it's just like,
Well, I can tell you, when he was telling me that story, because I was taking notes, there were times that he would stop, take a deep breath, let it out slow, look at his hands, and then go back to telling me the story. He was still shook.
He was living it, man. Like Fred.
Yeah.
Like Fred.
I mean, that's like, that's as close as you're going to come to knowing you're about to die, and then
Right.
you don't.
Yeah.
Brian, every branch of the military has their own department credentials. Like if you're in the Army, it says U.S. Army. Air Force, it says Air Force, Marines, same thing. DOD credentials come from the Department of Defense, now called the Department of War. But DOD credentials, they're above that. They can drop orders on anybody in any chain of command. They are coming straight from the SecDef. Well, I guess it's Sec War now.
Yep.
That means way above the pay grade. Madison Jewell says, D.A. Robbie, if that had been one of you guys, if one of you had been in Tom's place, would you have not been angry when it went back after it? Maybe
Tom's place or
yeah, or Tim's place. Yeah, if I'd been the game warden, I probably would have, as soon as I got the truck, I would have called for backup and got my rifle and stayed in the truck until they got there. That's just probably how I would have done it. But and then again, I can't really say because I wasn't in his shoes. But that is one of the creepier stories I've ever taken.
Yeah,
I've got another one that's even worse than that that was told to me firsthand at deer camp.
the loggers.
No, the guy hunting mushrooms.
Oh yeah, that one. Okay,
It was a buddy of mine's dad.
but the loggers were pretty.
Yeah, the logger story's pretty good too. Wyatt says, "Tell it." Well, you guys want me to do that one too?
Like Wyatt's not heard it 100 times before too. It's a good story though.
Okay, now I want to preface this story with I knew this guy my whole life. I'm not going to say his name. His son and I grew up together. We went to school together. We deer hunted together. This was told to me at deer camp, and it supposedly happened in early May of '86. I heard the story in '87, about a year after it happened. I was told this story at deer camp several years ago, and it supposedly happened in May of '86. I know the man in the story, and he's not one to spin tales or make up stories. He had a nasty scar over his left eye, and I always wondered how he got it. I'd been asking him for a while, and he'd always answer with, "It's a long story." Well, we were sitting around the fire and been passing a jar of my cousin's good moonshine back and forth, and he suddenly got deadly serious and looked at me and said, "Do you really want to know how I got this?" He asked me, reaching up, touching the scar with his finger. I said, "Yeah, I want to hear. I'd love to hear the story." My friend passed away around the time that my youngest son was born, and I've never asked his permission to use his name, so out of respect, I won't reveal it here. For the sake of story, we'll just call him Keith. And it's not his name, but we'll call him Keith. I've debated about telling this story since Keith was very reluctant to share it. But after a lot of thought, I decided I would share it because he always encouraged me to chase my dreams of being a writer. And he did enjoy a good campfire story. Keith was quite a bit older than me, but I grew up with his son and had known him for a long time. I spent many days cutting wood or hauling hay on his land, making extra money when I was a teenager. He knew I was interested in Bigfoot and things like that, and I always suspected he knew something he wasn't telling me. For one, I don't think I ever saw him step outside his house without a gun on. Even when we went deer hunting, he took the biggest rifle I'd ever seen. He had a lever-action Winchester 454 Casull. We used to joke that he preferred his deer pre-chewed. We also joked that we were hunting deer and not Cape buffalo. He'd just shrug and say, "Boys, there are things out here bigger than deer." It might do you some good to remember that. When he decided to tell us the story of the scar, we all sat just absolutely hanging on every word. He tossed a shot glass of moonshine into the fire and made it flare up, and then he settled back into his camp chair. And the tale kept us on the edge of our seats and scared the crap out of us. No one slept in camp that night. We kept the fire going bright, and no one wanted to admit how bad the story had scared him, but we all kept our rifles close to hand. This is his story in his own words. He said, "I used to go out every year and hunt morel mushrooms." I'm sure a lot of you guys have done that same thing. They're ready in the spring. They're great. Says, "I love them and always managed to bring home a lot. I knew a good spot on state land that bordered against my property, and not many people made it that far into the backwoods. If you were patient, you could bring a good crop of them before the season ended. Back then, I had a hunting partner. I'm sure you boys remember Molly, my blue heeler shepherd mix. She's the best hunting partner I ever had." We all nodded. I'd always wondered what happened to that dog. All he would ever say was she got lost out in the woods while hunting and never made it home. I had the feeling we were about to learn the truth. He said, "Molly and I went everywhere together. Well, except deer hunting. She couldn't sit still enough to keep quiet. She always had to be up investigating everything around us. That made her great for rabbit and squirrel hunting, but not so good for deer. If I went camping, fishing, riding my four-wheeler or whatever, she was right there with me. I was always happy to have her along when we went out looking for mushrooms because she figured out pretty fast what I was looking for and would point me in the right direction. She'd range out around me, and sometimes I'd lose sight of her for a few minutes before she'd come back, bounding back with a rock or a stick in her mouth. That dog loved exploring. We took the four-wheeler back as far as we could go, then slipped through the fence onto state land. It wasn't more than 100 yards into the woods before we started seeing quite a few mushrooms. I had a canvas tote sack hooked over my shoulder with a strap. Carefully, I started collecting mushrooms and tucking them into my bag. Molly was lying right at my feet with her ears up. That struck me as odd because she was usually off exploring. That's when I realized she hadn't left my side since we left the four-wheeler. I stood up and looked around and didn't see anything out of place, but the woods were really quiet. But I kind of put it out of my head. I'd been coming to these woods for years, and I hadn't seen so much as a cougar track. I couldn't imagine a big predator being in the area, so I just dismissed it as an animal's being quiet because of me. Boys, I should have left right then and there. But I was just getting started, and I wanted a big bunch of mushrooms to take home. After a few minutes of looking around, I went back to picking mushrooms. Molly stayed right with me and stayed on alert. She was noticing something that I wasn't. A couple of times she let out a soft whine or a short growl. Again, I should have listened to that warning and headed for the house, but I kept stuffing mushrooms into the sack. We had moved deeper into the woods, about 200 yards or so from where the four-wheeler was parked. I kept a good mental map of where I was just in case we needed to get out of there in a hurry. The woods were still strangely quiet, and I was starting to get a bit nervous. Molly stayed still right by my side, never moving more than a foot or two away. Finally, all of this started to get to me, and I decided to finish picking the cluster that I'd just found and get out of there. Maybe I'd come back in a day or two and see if things had changed. I was picking the last of the mushrooms when a rock hit me in the side of the head, and he tapped that scar. He said when a rock hit me on the side. He said it thumped my ribs hard enough to hurt, and then I saw where it fell to the ground. It was a smooth river rock about the size of a silver dollar. There weren't any creeks in the river, there weren't any creeks or rivers around here, at least not within half a mile or so. I stood up and looked in the direction where the rock had come, but didn't see anything or anyone. Molly bristled up and began growling. I glanced down at her when another rock streaked in and hit me just above my eye. That's when he touched his head. It hit me just above my left eye with enough force that I might have lost consciousness for a minute or two. The next thing I knew, I was looking up from the ground and I could only see through one eye. I gingerly touched my left eye and found it was completely covered with blood. The vision in my right eye was blurry and my head was swimming. I could see Molly was right beside me with her hackles up, and she was growling and barking at something out of my view. The sound of her barking seemed to be coming from a long way off. She was doing her best to protect me and keep something away. Then something dark and covered in hair stepped into view and grabbed Molly by the neck. There was a whine, followed by a crack, and I knew it had just snapped her neck. I couldn't make out the thing's face since my vision was still blurry, but it looked almost like a man, just bigger. I know it's tough to make a good estimate of something's height while you're laying on the ground, but I guessed because Molly looked like a kid's stuffed animal in its hands. Whenever she got in my lap and my recliner, she took up my entire lap. She weighed about 80 pounds, and that thing made her look like a toy. It had to be over 8 feet tall and was massively built, maybe 1,000 pounds. While it tucked Molly under its arms, I felt another hand grab my ankle and start dragging me. The one that had grabbed Molly picked up my bag of mushrooms from where I dropped it when it fell. That meant there were at least 2 of the damn things. It was dragging me without any effort, and I figured that it wasn't planning to take me back to my four-wheeler. We were heading in the wrong direction. I suddenly had the feeling that these things were planning on eating me and Molly. That thought really pissed me off. Through the pain and the fuzzy feeling in my head, I suddenly remembered I was carrying my old 1911 on my hip. I fumbled around and my fingers closed on the handle. I cocked it as I drew it, dropped to safety, and fired twice at the thing that was dragging me. I don't know if I hit it or not, but it let go of me and screamed this god-awful shriek before racing off into the woods. I turned the pistol toward the one that had Molly and fired 3 times. This time I know I hit it at least once because I saw the blood fly from its shoulder. It screamed like the first one and raced off into the trees into a different direction, but it didn't drop Molly or the mushrooms. I got shakily to my feet and looked around, keeping my pistol ready to shoot if I saw another one of those things. In the woods around me, I could hear what sounded like a bunch of monkeys raising a ruckus. It sounded like a bunch of them, but they never came out where I could see them. My head was clearing a bit, and I only knew I had only had a couple bullets left in my pistol before I'd have to change the magazine. I only brought 1 more, and they only held 7 rounds. If those things came at me in a rush, I planned on going down shooting, but it wasn't going to be a long fight. As much as I wanted to go get Molly to give her a proper burial, I knew she'd given her life to protect me. I had to get out of there, or she died for nothing. I headed back toward the four-wheeler, and those things kept pace with me. They started throwing rocks, sticks, pine cones, and anything else they could find. I got hit a few times, but not enough to knock me back down. It seemed like it took me hours to get back to that four-wheeler, but it only had to have been just a few minutes. I dove over the fence and turned to see if any of them were coming out of the trees. Another big rock sailed right at me, and I dove to the side. It smashed the headlight and bent the handlebars on my four-wheeler. I fired off both rounds from where I'd seen the rock come and heard something grunt in pain. "Take that, you sons of bitches," I hollered as I changed the magazine. I jumped on the four-wheeler and hit the starter. It fired right up, and I checked the handlebars. They weren't bad enough to keep me from driving it, but turning was going to be a bit dicey if I had to make a sudden left. I shoved the pistol back in my holster and put the four-wheeler in gear. Then I spun around, sending dirt and leaves into the air. More rocks and sticks rained down around me as I raced off down the trail that led back to my house. Just ahead, I could see a tall pine tree starting to lean out over the trail. Those big bastards were trying to block my escape. I knew if I didn't get past it, I was done for. There wasn't another clear trail back to the house without going right through the thick woods. I gunned the engine and ducked as low as I could as I raced for my life with that damn tree. I felt the branches brush my back as I slipped past it, just barely avoiding getting smashed by it. I didn't slow down until I hit the field behind my house. I jumped off and ran in the house, grabbed my 12-gauge, and headed back out. I could hear them damn things shrieking from the trees, but they never came out into the field. After a few minutes, I went inside and had my wife clean up my eye and bandage it. I wanted to tell her how it happened, but I didn't think she'd believe me. Hell, I barely believed it. I finally broke down and told her. She wasn't sure what to think until one tried to get in the house that night. She saw it clear in the porch light when I shot at it, and I shot at it with a shotgun. For almost a month after that, we'd hear the damn things coming around the house at night. We made sure to keep the doors locked and the animals in the barn. We lost a few chickens and 1 hog. but we managed to protect the rest. After that, they never came back, at least as far as we know. You boys want to know why I carry a rifle this big? Well, it ain't for the deer. I plan on killing every one of them sons of bitches that I see. And if this 454 can't get the job done, then I hope they freaking choke on me.
That's a good one.
I knew the old boy that happened to. Knew him well. You know, after that, he never went out looking for morels again.
Do you blame him?
Nope, not in the slightest.
I think that cured me of my desire to go foraging. For sure, for certain. Oh goodness!
He said he'd been getting mushrooms in that area for years, and just happened to be there at the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah, Vincent says more mushrooms from the store after that. You betcha. Yeah, he told me that at deer camp when I was about 20.
Hey boys, I'll be right back. I gotta say goodnight with Angie.
10.
Thank you.
Jeff Yarrington says I'm not going foraging. Well, what do y'all think? Those are both stories that I personally took the story. I got it firsthand. So and watched both of them. I know for a fact those boys weren't lying to me. The game warden was clearly shook up, and my friend's dad, I almost said his name. He was definitely shook up. And if he was out in the field behind his house, he had that big old 454 on his tractor with him. Or his shotgun, either one. I don't think I ever saw that man unarmed.
Yeah, that's probably one of the more visceral stories that we've talked about. Ooh.
Yeah, those are some very hair-raising stories.
So, but I mean, it kind of stands to, or kind of reinforces the theory. You know, he took a shot, and they kept after him for a while.
They tried to get him, and almost got the job done. And that might have been one of those when my buddy comes to school and goes, "My dad went out morel hunting and never came back." We'd have been out in those woods looking for him.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, he didn't. You know, he had no choice in that situation. He had to take a shot.
Oh yeah, they were.
He was getting drugged.
I'm pretty sure they were planning on eating him.
Yeah, like he said, I don't think they were taking me back to my 4-wheeler.
Yeah,
and they'd already killed his dogs. I mean, you know, he didn't have a choice.
Yeah, I in that situation, I'd have shot too. I'm not going to get dragged off. Miss Lene says, "How about the logger story?" Miss Lene, I'll have to do that one another time. We're getting close to the top of the third hour, so we're going to start winding things down.
Yeah.
Cryptic Crystal says, "Eventually got pissed off about my sighting. It takes something intangible from you that you never get back. What do you do about it? Nothing can be done." Absolutely correct. Yeah, once you've actually laid eyes on something like that.
Yeah,
it's all great to be, you know, to have an academic understanding of it and say, yeah, I believe in Bigfoot, but when it steps out of the trees, it's not academic anymore.
Yeah, it's we've said it before. Once that switch gets flipped, it can't get flipped back the other way.
Right. Hold on. Just a second. Well, as we start winding it down, the forest has always had its secrets. Tonight we actually had 8 stories, not just 6, but we walked through 6 places where the trees weren't just scenery; they were hunting grounds. We heard the screams from the canopy. We felt the growls roll through the branches. We watched something move above the trail, not hiding, not fleeing, but choosing its moment. We followed the pacing steps from the ridge line. We saw the drop downs, the silent descents, the impossible speed. We watched a predator test its distance, test its prey, test its territory. And in the end, we saw what happens when it decides the test is over. Because something in these forests isn't stalking from the shadows on the ground. It's stalking from the trees. And from the places we never look, from the angles we never expect, and from the heights where predators shouldn't be. Something that moves with purpose, something that chooses its targets, and something that knows the woods better than we ever will. And if the forest ever goes dead quiet around you, if the birds stop and the wind dies down, if the branches above you shift without a breeze, remember this: predators don't always hunt from below. Sometimes they're already above you, waiting for you to notice, or waiting for you to not notice. This is episode 404, Predator in the Pines, folks. And out there in the deep timber, the trees are never as empty as they look.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So, how about we take a quick moment and talk about the good folks who are our affiliates and keep the lights on here. Doc, since you're here, you want to tell us a little bit about Dark Angel Medical?
Absolutely. Yeah. So those of you who know about Dark Angel Medical, I hope you visited the site and checked it out. Those of you who don't know, I own Dark Angel Medical, and it's at www.darkangelmedical.com. And if you whatever kind of trauma kit you're looking for, we're trying to keep all that stuff in stock, and we have anything from small kits to big kits and all the in between kits. More than anything, we offer training on how to use it. So we offer training classes all over the United States. There's on our training schedule calendar right now on the website. And if you use Cryptid20, coupon code Cryptid20, that's 20% off your order. And if you order something, and we're HSA, FSA eligible, and if you ever use whatever something in the kit to save someone's life, let us know. We'll replace it absolutely 100% free of charge. It's called our Kit for Life Guarantee. So head over to darkangelmedical.com, get a kit, get trained, and be the difference.
Robbie, how about you tell us a little bit about the good folks over at Scallywag Tactical?
Another one of our veteran-owned affiliate companies, Scallywag Tactical. Make some of the best blades that you can get your hands on. They've always got new stuff coming out. Like Doc told us the other day that we don't think that the blemish blades are coming back, at least not anytime soon. That changes, we'll let you know. But as of right now, the blemish blades are no longer a possibility, but they still have plenty of good stuff. They got good deals going all the time. Go check them out. Craig and his crew are amazing. Use code Cryptid20. Oh, you changed. I'm sorry, you didn't change it up yet. DA Roberts 10. I thought, did we change it?
It wasn't popping up. I kept typing Scallywag and it wouldn't pop up.
I was like, as I read it, I was like, did we change the use code DA Roberts 10 at checkout to get yourself 10% off? Tell them we sent you. You won't be disappointed if you get yourself one of their blades. And it's like we always say, one of the main things you need to have if you're going out is a good blade.
Yep.
And by having a good blade, we mean have at least 2, possibly 3 good blades, because 2 is 1, 1 is none.
And 3 is gooder.
3 is more gooder.
Correct.
So tell them we sent you. Scallywag Tactical. Code DA Roberts 10 at checkout.
Absolutely. And our most recent of the affiliates is the good boys over at sigwoarms.com. Sigwo is a local gun and machine shop. They make their own ammunition. They got a full line of whisper pickles. That's suppressors for those of you in the know. They make some amazing firearms. Plus, they carry all the regular brands you guys like so much. Check them out. You can find them at sigwoarms.com, or you can email Cody directly at cody@sigwoarms.com. Check out their website and check them out. They make some amazing stuff, and you are definitely going to like it. And use discount code Bigfoot5 for 5% off your order. But if you're a first responder or a veteran, make sure to let them know, and they will bump that up to 10%. So check them out. Let them know we sent you. And give them your business, folks, because they're a dang good company and they make some awesome stuff. And you know, I'm getting to say something tonight for the first time that I'm very proud that I'm going to get to say. Doc, why don't you tell us about your book?
Well, I told y'all in the beginning, now I'll tell you in the end. It is titled Dark Frontiers, Vampire Chronicles, Angels of the, I was almost about to say my second book's title, Angels of the Wilderness. And it's set in between books 1 and 2 of the Dark Frontier series. If y'all hadn't read DA's Dark Frontier series or Robbie's books or anything like that, y'all need to read them. But it's set in between the first 2 books of that series. And it's where Doc and Jed and Declan, Patrick and Marshall Forrester are all chasing these vampires that have been wreaking havoc on this Indian territory settlement, and then it comes into Springfield, and then they have the battle royale, and so it's got a great character arc in there, some good stuff, and I think y'all will like it. Hope, and y'all will definitely recognize the banner between us. I think y'all will both agree with that.
Oh yeah.
And so I hope y'all enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it. So thank you.
And I just checked Amazon. It's still not up in Kindle yet and paperback yet.
Dang it.
But hopefully it will be within the next 24 hours. But you can still get it right now in hardback, which is an awesome way to collect those books. Check it out. I think you guys are really going to like it. Robbie, you want to tell us a little bit about some of the other authors we're proud to sponsor?
Sure.
Including a particular interesting redneck from South Carolina.
Who's that? So the godfather of the whole universe, the guy over here beside me, Mr. D.A. Roberts, who is graciously laid the foundation that Doc and I get of the sandbox that Doc and I get to play in. Got 37 in print and has got working on 38 and 39 and probably
and 40.
I was about to say, and probably all the way up to about 45 or 50 is probably in various stages of the written word. But if you have, which I don't think there's anybody in this chat other than maybe 1 or 2 that are brand new that have not read some of DA's books, but you got to start with the Godfather over here, the Godfather of Cryptids, because he's the one that got me and Doc over the edge and got us to start writing. Doc and I both, it's funny, we talked about this just matter of fact last night. Doc and I both had our stories in our heads for over 20 years each and never pulled the trigger, never could pull the trigger, didn't know what to do until we met this guy over here, and he's the one that put us over the edge. He don't like to take credit for that anymore, and I like to take credit and think that my writing's halfway decent. So shut up, DA, and don't say a word and just take it like you tell me to do.
True.
So
true.
Go check
the color.
Shut up, color. There we do have because I've had a bunch of people ask me. I'm sure DA's had some people ask him, and now we got to do another one to add docs in there to show a timeline. But DA and I got got together one night and we did a working timeline chronologically, which books to read in which order. We need to work on getting that. We can put it up on.
I need to get it up on the website.
Yeah,
That'd be great. That'd be very helpful.
Tells you what order to read the books, because I've had several people say, "Well, what order should we read them in?" Like, we can't just spit that out off the top of our heads, but we do have it. It's there. It's just getting in it. But now counting Doc's books, that puts us what 44? Because I think
Something
we did
like
it because we were at 42, and then that was before both of our last two books came out. So that's 43 and 44. Now it would be 45, I think, counting Doc's now. So there's 45 books in total in the universe. With more coming from all three of us. So go check DA's books out, Amazon.com, DARoberts.net. Awesome books. You can't go wrong with any of his books. Also, if you like the cover art for all three of our books, go check out Luca T. Jacobs. She's our cover artist.
Yes.
And does an amazing job.
Yes.
All y'all were talking about what a good looking cover that was on Doc. That's Luca. She does an amazing job. Like the one she did for me, Project Manicore. I mean, that I saw that and I sent it to DA and Doc. They were like, dude. I'm like, yes, that was a good job.
It's a slick cover, man.
So go check Luca's books out. Check DA's books out. Check Doc's books out. And if you got time, you can check mine out too. Mine's in there in amongst the universe too. My latest one is Nightmare Hunters. Listen at me. Wild Hunt, Shadow Hunters. We got so many dang titles running around. It's hard to remember which one we're talking about.
Now you know how I feel.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you half the time what happened in what book.
Yeah, y'all know not to ask me.
But Wild Hunt, Shadow Hunters, Project Manticore, which regales the telling of the Wild Hunt East Coast Division, which is based on the Marine Corps MAGTF principle. It's more like a little quick response force, smaller, more streamlined than the Midwest Division. And there are other units that are we've already kind of been talking about that. And there might be some people from some books that, as it stands right now, are not in the universe, but it may get tied in at some point. So there might be some characters from books that are written that show up in the universe. So be looking for that. I'm about 18,000 words into my fantasy novel, which takes place in Valgard, which is where Heart of Iron took place. And I'm working on tying that in. Excuse me. I felt that coming, but I couldn't get to the button. I'm working on that's being tied in with everything, working on all the little Easter eggs and the hints and all that kind of stuff. How far are you into book 2, Doc?
34,000.
Yep. And I know DA's probably 30 or 40,000 into your newest project.
Well, with Leviathan down, I'm just over 50,000 words. So it's building to the big final fight. On Nightmare Hunters Curse of the Rougarou, I'm at about 20,000 words. And on the compilation of short stories, I'm 2 short stories in, neither of which have been published. I don't want to reveal them until I've got that compilation ready to release. And on the new project, which is Hangman's Legacy, it's a new series. It's going to be a little different than my other books. It's still going to be dealing with supernatural threats. It's still good guys versus dark forces. But this one's a little different. It's very near and dear to my heart, and it's about halfway done. But it's going to come in a little bigger than my average books. I'm writing this book in 5 acts, and I'm in the middle of Act 3, so I'm roughly halfway done, and it just crested 85,000 words. Robbie, did you freeze up or fall asleep?
No, I was reading Richie's.
Okay. He wasn't moving. I was like, did we lose Robbie?
I'm not Jeff. I ain't got my head back snoring. Sorry, Jeffro. I had to. No, I was reading Richie's question because he had a question for you. And I was waiting for you to finish talking because I was going to say, hey, DA, Richie's got a question for you.
Okay, what's the question?
It says, how about you write a story on Irish folklore and older than Roman Empire stuff? Well, funny you should mention that because the next Grail book is going to be dealing with some old Irish folklore. So, sorry, Richie's not DA doing it, but I'm doing it. I know
there might be some stuff coming from me eventually on that kind of path as well.
That's going to happen. That's going to have to, because there's no what they're dealing with. They're not going to be able to. The Wild Hunt's going to have to get involved in that. We done talked about that. There's no way that one team is going to take care of what we're bringing about in that book.
Yeah, I've had plans to do a Dark Fae story for a while.
Nice.
But I've got a bunch of other projects I got to get done first. Miss Lene says Penguin's Legacy is freaking awesome. Thank you, Miss Lene. It's kind of like, I don't know, Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove, which is a big old thick book. It's kind of a modern cowboy epic. It's like Larry McMurtry's Lonesome Dove meets Craig Johnson's Longmire and Tony Hillerman's Dark Winds with a little touch of Kolchak the Night Stalker thrown in.
Mm-hmm. I can see all those aspects from what I've been reading. It's and I love the tone. It's a different tone of book too.
Yeah, it's very different.
Yeah, I dig that tonal change. It's
with all new characters. You won't see a familiar face in this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at the very end, I might have a cameo, but might have a cameo from one of my other characters. But throughout the whole body of the book, these are all brand new characters. It's an ensemble cast with a whole bunch of different stories to tell, and I think this book probably feels more alive than anything I've ever written.
I like it. I like the. I don't know. I just like the story. It's really cool.
Arlen, good thing you said that. I need to make sure I let everybody know that again, just to make sure. Monday is not my wife and I's 33rd anniversary of the day we met. We met 2 days after Valentine. We always celebrate our Valentine's Day on the 16th instead of the 14th. So there won't be a Monday Mayhem this week because I've already made plans with her. We're going to be going out to dinner, and we've got a hotel reserved, and we're leaving the area for at least a night, maybe two, depends on how things go. But I thought I'd best romance the wife for a little bit, and then it'll be smooth sailing for us to go back to doing shows. There is one other thing I always want to mention before we wrap up the show, and that's the 22 a Day Foundation. We lose 22 veterans a day to suicide, and that is 22 too many. So reach out to your friends and family who are first responders or military veterans, active duty in any capacity, and let them know you're thinking about them. Let them know you care, because 22 a day is 22 too many. And let's get that number down to 0 where it belongs. And one thing we've been doing that I'm pretty proud of on this show is we've been closing the show out with a toast. And it's kind of a haunting toast if you really think about it. It comes from an old Irish drinking song called The Parting Glass. But when you listen to the lyrics, it's not really saying good night. It's like saying goodbye to the folks at the bar at the end of the day, even though it is played as one of the closing notes in Irish pubs all over the world. But this song is more about saying goodbye to the ones we've lost along the way. And I'm very proud to share this toast with you. And it's a beautiful song. If you haven't heard it, you should go on YouTube and look up The Parting Glass and check it out. But we're going to close her out with this. It says, "But since it fell into my lot that I should rise and you should not, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be to you all. Slanja. God bless each and every one of you, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday night. Slanja.
Slanja.
Plains, the winds are howling, saloon doors swinging, shadows growling. Three lawmen stand tough as rawhide. Yeah, Doc and DA, nothing can abide. Whiskey shots and poker faces, staring down the darkest spaces in this town where legends roam. These boys bring justice, sending evil home. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night. Jed's a howler, claws of steel. Doc's a biter, makes the devil real. But DA's a shifty one, a shape-shifting soul. Can turn to anything, takes any form, takes control. Tonight the chupacabras come to town, sucking the life from all around. But these lawmen, they ain't afraid. They'll face the darkness unafraid. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rain. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night. Full moon rises, bat wings flap, the air grows cold, a chill and trap. But these lawmen, they're ready to fight underneath the pale moonlight. Jed and Doc transform with a howl. DA shifts, becomes a night owl. Together they stand, a force so strong against the evil right in the road. Cryptid lawmen, wild and free, hunting monsters for all to see. With silver bullets and grit of steel, they fight the darkness, make the demons squeal. From dusty canyons to moonlit plains, justice rides with wind and rains. Cryptid lawmen, a fearsome sight, standing tall against the endless night.